Yeah, you tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queuing. H 2.0. Yeah. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear.
Welcome to the Queendom, H 2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. See if you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust. Joining in the movement is a definite must.
This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought.
Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me envy. Unleash the dragon.
Subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family.
Yeah. They try to bury the truth under paper stacks. But the ink still bleeds, and the receipts talk. Go to yeah. Golden Tree in the booth tonight. Receipts on the table. No hiding from the light. Yeah. First thing first, let's talk about the screen. Two legends in the spotlight, tension in between. One said play the game, do the promo, keep it neat. Others said hold up, I got contracts and receipts. Years later the truth came sliding through the door. History repeating like it happened once before. Same argument, same script, same defense in the mix. Funny how the tables turn when the past gets fixed. Hollywood quiet when the truth starts talking loud. When the industry decides who's allowed in the crowd. Standing on principle, sometimes you pay your cost, but dignity's a crown even when the bag is lost.
Receipts on the table, truth in the light. Stories getting heavy when you shine them this bright. World full of chaos, trying to keep sight. Stand tall in the storm, keep your soul in the fight. Receipts on the table, nothing to disguise. History whispers, but the truth never lies. When the pressure is hard and the system denies, keep your head up high, keep your eyes on the prize.
Meanwhile, the world stays shaking like a drum. Old alliances wondering what's about to come. Strategy shifting, priorities rearranged. Whole geopolitical map about to change. Promises fading like smoke in the wind. Nations reading signals, wondering where it all ends. When the shields crack open and the systems get stressed, you learn real fast, nothing's truly bulletproof, yes. History shows empires rising, they fall. Every generation gotta answer the call. When the ground starts moving under power and might, people gotta think long term, keep the future in sight.
Receipts on the table, truth in the light. Face stories getting heavy when you shine them this bright. One full of chaos, trying to keep sight. Stand tall in the storm, keep your soul in the fight. Receipts on the table, nothing to the skies. History whispers, but the truth never lies. When the pressure hits hard and the system denies, keep your head up high, keep your eyes on the prize.
Back home, politics running hot in the air, and everybody talking, but few wanna stare. Truth gets uncomfortable when it lands too near. When the noise noise of the crowd turns a whisper to fear. Sometimes a lesson comes late in the game, when the echoes of history call out your name. You can't outrun shadows when the truth walks in. Eventually the mirror shows the world your end. Real change don't come from ignoring the flame. It comes from honesty, accountability, and shame. Hard conversations, but they gotta be faced if you want a better world for the next generation's place. But pause for a moment, put the politics aside. There's a family somewhere still broken inside. Her young life gone too soon from the weight of the pain in the system that should have stepped up to sustain. Bullying whispers turn to storms in the mind when a child cries for help, but no help they find. It's a fail we all gotta learn to confront, because silence from adults leaves the kids on the front. Protect the little ones, that's the rule of the land. Every teacher, every parent gotta take a stand. One voice ignored could turn into a tragedy call, and the whole community asking why it fell. Yeah, then breaking news flash across every screen. Sirens in the dark where prayers once have been. Fake houses trembling when violence appears, turning sacred spaces into scenes of fear. Community shaking, but they standing in grace, trying to find peace in a chaotic place. When hatred walks in with destruction in sight, unity's the weapon that keeps hope alive. Different faces, different colors, different prayers in the sky, but pain is the same when the innocent cry. The answer ain't fear, it's courage and care, standing together saying hatred ain't welcome here. Receipts on the table, truth in the light. World getting heavy, but we still gotta fight through the noise and the chaos. Keep the vision in sight. Build tomorrow stronger than the struggles tonight. Receipts on the table, history unfolds. Stories of courage that the future will hold. Through the fire and the pressure, watch the truth turn to gold. Stand tall, stay real, let the truth be told.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Golden. I am back with another live, y'all. It has been a few days. I have been dropping some music, but we haven't been talking about a lot of politics and the updates in the news. I did do that purposely because sometimes you got to take a break from that stuff. Not that you're not keeping up on it and knowing what's going on, but just sometimes I feel like consistently talking about it, because we all see it, we know what's going on, and it can be a tad stressful, not just for the host who's talking about it, but also for the viewers, that are listening to it. And I appreciate all of y'all's support for coming to hear me listen to it and rock with me and talk about these things. But I know it can be a bit much for all of us. So I figured that break and that little, time out was necessary for us to be able to regroup and, breather, because Lord knows it is really always something every day, almost every moment of the day, especially what's going on with the politics, the government, and all of that. So y'all know I talk about that over here. So we're going to talk about a few of those little topics, but I got some entertainment topics we want to talk about as well. We're going to try to mix it up and lighten it up a little bit. So y'all, it is about 3 p.m. Eastern time here in the United States, in the Carolinas. And the weather is pretty tricky today. We had like a little quick storm, but it passed and it's not raining anymore. It's quiet out there. But it is a bit chilly. I hope you guys are having an excellent day in whatever respectful time zone you're in, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night for you. And hopefully y'all weather is nice and decent, right? Because it's kind of nasty out there. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and say hi to everybody. So, hey, Imani, thanks for coming back and joining me. Mama Warriors listening in the back while watching Lil JG. Star, what's up, girl? Thanks for coming in. I appreciate that. Hey, Polo, what's going on? Thank you for joining as well. OPP Watch OG, hello. Thank you for popping through. Everybody who come in, thank you so much for the support. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So let me tell y'all what we're gonna be talking about on this live. So actually, right here in my local hometown, there's some, pretty devastating and scary news. Okay, it's an urgent update. There is a high school that's here in my local town, and right now is under a code yellow because apparently there was a student that had passed along a threat of saying that they would come to the school and use a firearm at school, right? And so put, other students and stuff in danger. And it's because I believe he was in his feelings and emotions and upset about something. However, they did get, apprehend him and get him in time before he was able to see that through. And so we thank God for that. But, we really do have to pray for our children's safety. It's getting really spooky out here. And, prayers is going out to people that have actually, undergone these type of things at the schools with their children. And children may not be here because of some of these type of things that happen. So we have to make sure that, we're paying attention to that. We're keeping our children safe. We're staying, in the loop about what is going on in these school systems, what kids is talking about. But one of the things I can tell you when it comes to that, and I don't know if that's a pro or a con, but nowadays, children and the youth, everything is on social media and online. And because a lot of this was talked about prior to being done on social media and online, that is how they were able to stop it in time before anything devastating happened. So I do thank God for that. And anybody whose child does go to that high school, and for anybody who is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the name of the high school is E.E. Smith High School. So that is something that was happening at their school. A lot of people decide to keep their children home, just to be on the safe side, which I think is the best decision to make. And so I just thank God that did not go through, and they were able to stop it in time. We also want to dive into a little bit of this explosive open letter that Monique has apparently sent out to Whoopi Goldberg. We'll get into some details about that as far as what that letter is about, but I think y'all probably will remember a conversation that was had between Monique and Whoopi Goldberg on The View. Also, we will be getting into covering this active shooter report that has also been happening at a Michigan synagogue. We also will be talking about some tragic bullying, which is something serious we need to talk about, of a 12-year-old little girl, Ava Little. And we also will be getting into, of course, what we see, a lot of massive failures in our U.S. Defense Department. So as far as the school, okay, this is right in our backyard. Y'all know that. I said the school's name is E.E. Smith High School. It's right here in the local city that I live in. And they're under a code yellow and started today due to a threat circulating on social media. Cumberland County Schools confirmed the threat, and authorities have been on high alert. So yes, that is something that I figure we start off talking about because it is so close to home. But these type of things, when it comes to our heart space, it's very dangerous for our students, for our children. And we can celebrate and be happy that, these threats and stuff do get dealt with in time. But that's if we're lucky, because sometimes at certain schools, we have seen that they don't. But we need to make sure that, we stand on top of these things. I know life can get busy, but we got to make sure we're in the know at all times, especially when it comes to our babies. So moving on to Monique's open letter to Whoopi. Okay. We'll be hearing a little bit from the Kempire channel. I don't know if y'all familiar with it, but if not, y'all really got to check him out. I really love his channel. He will be breaking down a lot of about this. So Monique's explosive open letter to Whoopi Goldberg, as discussed on his channel, isn't just talking. She's actually proving that she was right all along. So basically, Monique called out the hypocrisy of Whoopi Goldberg when she sat with her on The View during that interview. And Whoopi said that she could have schooled or was schooling Monique about contractual obligations. So as you'll see in here, Kempire points out, Monique found that the 1993 lawsuit where Whoopi Goldberg herself tried to back out of the movie Theodore Rex using the same exact no formal commitment excuse. So there's a lot of hypocrisy that's being dug up now when it comes to what Whoopi Goldberg was trying to school Monique on and some of the moves that she may have made or choices she may have made in her past career when she was acting as well. But Monique's point is clear. If she had really broken a contract with the movie Precious, she would have been sued, right? But she wasn't. She was just blackballed, which is nasty work, and that's what they do. Finally, she is holding Whoopi accountable for that teaching moment that Monique says cost her years of her work career. We also will be getting into, y'all, the U.S. defenses and how, we have these failed allies. So the major crisis on the global stage, U.S. defense strategies are shifting and is leaving our allies in a failed state. But that's what they say. What could we say? It goes both ways. That's my personal opinion. But the news report showed that U.S.-made defense systems like the THAAD failed to stop strikes in the Middle East. The U.S. is moving towards a deterrence by denial policy focused on China, essentially telling other allies, you are on your own. Interesting. When you walk away from people and turn your backs on people, they also can do the same to you. I just hope we all remember that. Anyway, this shift is causing chaos as nations that relied on the U.S. shield realize it might not be there when the sirens go off. However, when it comes to the United States, a lot of our allies and benefits that we have always had from other countries are also beginning to stop. So right now, it's a dog-eat-dog world out here. We're also beginning into Brian Donalds and how he is finally seeing that for all of this time, when people have been warning and shouting that racism is still actively here and we still experience it, for a long time, I believe he was in denial. And now he is starting to see the truth. So he's currently dealing with a massive internal party scandal that him himself can no longer ignore. After a long history of defending his party's record on race, Donald is facing the fallout of Nazi-themed group chats and extremist rhetoric with Florida GOP circles. For someone who has been a vocal shield against claims of systemic racism, seeing these violent threats from within his own political home is forcing a major public reckoning. We also, like I said, have to talk about the tragic story about bullying that has been linked to the unaliving of a 12-year-old girl. We are mourning the loss of 12-year-old Ava Little. Her family says she took her own life after being relentlessly bullied at school. Her parents claim they went to the school multiple times for help, but the system failed them. We have to do better for our children and our babies. And bullying isn't just part of growing up. It is a life and sometimes unalive issue that needs real consequences for the bullies and for the school systems that ignore them. And then finally, y'all, we will be talking about this active power or shooter at Michigan Synagogue. Breaking news has reported on an active shooter at the Temple in Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan. At Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan. There are reports of a truck crashing into the building and smoke coming from the roof. SWAT teams are on the scene at what is the largest Reform synagogue in North America. The state of the world right now, this is just yet another terrifying example of the rise in targeted violence that we are seeing across the country. So y'all, I know that was a lot of talking. Let's go ahead and get into some of these videos that I have to show y'all with these reports. So starting off, as far as the local high school in my hometown here that I live in, this is just a quick snippet of what is going on. I'm gonna go ahead and play that for you guys real quick, and we'll be moving right along to the next topic. Per usual, y'all know I'll meet y'all in the chat, and we'll be right back.
At 11, E.E. Smith High School will start the day in a code yellow, the school day that is. It comes after the school received a threat on social media. Cumberland County school officials tell CBS 17 they notified Fayetteville police who are investigating. There will also be an increased law enforcement presence on campus.
So like I said, y'all, very quick and straight to the point. There will be more information that I'm pretty sure will be released and longer reports on this. But as of now, that is what we have. The school is in code yellow. And like I said, many local parents whose children go to that school have made the decision for the safety of their children to keep them home while this active code yellow is still in action. But now we're going to go ahead and get into, our next topic, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and hear a little bit about Monique and Whoopi Goldberg. So let me go ahead and get that up here for you guys. We'll be listening to this first report from the news. In the second report, we'll be hearing some commentary from Kempire. So give me just a moment to get that started for y'all. We'll be right back. All right. So this video I'm about to show y'all here right now, this is news reporting from Entertainment Tonight. So copyright disclaimer under fair use laws. Let's go ahead and listen to a little bit about what's going on, and then we'll hear Kempire get a little bit deeper into it and talk about it.
I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
Because contractually,
Yes.
when you make a movie, regardless of who you sign the deal with,
Yes.
your job is to go and promote said movie.
Yes.
No, but
8 years after that heated exchange on The View, Monique is calling out Whoopi Goldberg, penning an open letter to the Hot Topics table moderator, asking, is your stance truly about standing up against wrong, or is it about standing with the right people?
I said, Whoopi, at what point do we stop saying the next time? Because what was expected.
wait,
but I
next
want to
time?
answer it though.
Yeah.
I want to answer when you say
Do you want to
contractual.
get paid for the publicity?
Please let me answer. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Because if I had done something wrong contractually, they would have sued me.
Monique and Whoopi got into it back in 2018 over Monique's refusal to do international press for her Oscar-winning role in 2009's Precious.
Well, what you want to know?
Monique claimed it was unpaid labor and wasn't in her contract, while Whoopi argued it was an understood expectation of any acting gig.
What Tyler Perry showed me, Lee Daniel, Winfrey, and Lionsgate, when you don't do what we ask you to do, we'll take your livelihood. So for 8 years, my family has suffered and my career has suffered because what I would not allow those entities to do was bully me.
Now, Monique paints Whoopi as a bit of a hypocrite, noting the star attempted to back out of press for a movie called Theodore Rex back in the early 90s.
Hey, you think you're going to get somebody?
Monique writes, you can imagine how confused I was when I discovered this. I had to take responsibility for refusing to sign up for an act of slavery against my will. The worst part is that another woman chastised me on a platform meant to empower other women.
How do you offer me $12.5 million than you offer Amy Schumer and $19.5 million that you offer two men that you say are legends?
Right.
Monique joined the ABC talk show for that 2018 segment to speak out about what she felt was discrimination in the industry after she claims Netflix refused to pay her the same as other comics for a stand-up special. They ultimately settled, resulting in the release of My Name is Monique in 2023.
When you want to judge a mother, baby, I want you to understand what you're looking at. I'm even more unapologetic now than I was then. With life comes experience, comes wisdom, comes knowledge, it comes freedom.
When they wanted you to come, and we've had this
Yes, we did.
conversation, and I said, if you had called me, I could have schooled you on what was expected.
Now, after that clip resurfaced, Monique feels like the world would back her up over Whoopi. Quote, "Are you willing to do what's right for the little girls coming behind us, or is your position still the little girl coming behind us? I look forward to finding out because I was the little girl coming behind you." She suggests Whoopi may have been swayed to say those things because of her friendship with Tyler Perry, who once labeled Monique difficult, or a then exec at The View who was a former producer for Oprah, who, along with Tyler, helped promote Precious and who Monique's had years-long beef with over claims of unverifiable career sabotage. Whoopi's yet to respond to Monique's new questions.
I want to look right in the camera and tell people, if you know what you're standing in and what you're standing for, don't stop, because you never know what can happen on the backside of that story.
All right, y'all. So that was just a quick breakdown and report on exactly what the update is as far as Monique and Whoopi Goldberg. Now let's just have a quick little chit chat before we hear a bit from Kempire. But okay, so in my personal opinion, when I first saw everything that was happening at that time that was going down, with Monique and how she was being treated and the things that, she was speaking about when it comes to the contracts that she had and the agreements that she had during that time of the movie premiere. I always sided with and agreed with Monique, and she had the receipts and the paperwork to prove that she wasn't wrong. She wasn't just talking or being difficult or just decided she didn't feel like it. If it's not in your contract, it's not in the paperwork, and you have not signed on to do that, now you're asking me for a favor. And so if you ask me for a favor, if I'm able to do it and I want to do it and I have the time to do it, then I probably may do a favor for you. But if it's not something that I'm contractually, stuck into doing, and I'm busy at the time and I got other things going on or that I'd rather do, then I don't have to necessarily do the favor. And so Monique basically was telling us like that wasn't in her contract. They were asking for a favor. At that time, her babies were small. She did her job. She completed it. She wanted to stay home and spend that time with her babies and focus on some other things. And I don't think there was anything wrong with that. Now, what I didn't like is that when Monique was trying to tell her story, she went around to a lot of different platforms to sit down and explain exactly what was going on. And one of the most things that I seen during that time is that it seemed like the platforms that she sat down on that were Black platforms were the ones that were chastising her the most when it came to her decision. We remember she was on The Breakfast Club and how they treated her. We remember she was on The View and had that conversation with Whoopi Goldberg and how Whoopi Goldberg treated her. We remember that she was on the Steve Harvey show and how Steve Harvey treated her and spoke to her. And one of the things is how they spoke to her. And that always rubbed me the wrong way. Because yes, you may have a little bit more, or you may be playing the go along, get along game and feel like, that's what's going to get you to the end of the race quicker. We're seeing that's not proven to be true. But these are your fellow people, like Black men and Black women, all in the same industry, all understanding the struggle, but trying to convince this woman that she is crazy, she is difficult, and she's doing something wrong because she's standing up for what's right. And she knows her rights, and she knows, basically, contractually, she was not contracted to do any of those things. And so to drag her the way they did, and like you seen, they said for 8 years she was blackballed because of those things that came out of these individuals' mouths. And let's not forget about Tyler Perry, the main one who made those statements saying that she was difficult to work with. That took her out of being able to get work and work with people because they painted a narrative about her that wasn't true, all because she didn't do something that they wanted her to do. And they didn't like getting that no. And so we've also seen her sit down on some other platforms, such as Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharp, where they had a very open and great conversation, I believe, about exactly how that all plays out. And she's not the only one. We've heard a lot of other artists speak about this as well, such as Taraji P. And so when it comes down to all of this, I knew she was right when she said it, but it got drug out so far, further than what it needed to be drug out, right? And so I'm glad that Monique is coming back around and saying, and not even necessarily having to say loud, but just basically saying, y'all decide. This is what I was saying back then. This is what you bear witness to, not just with me, but with others. So who was on the right side and who was on the wrong side? All of the truth is coming out now. And, you know, I like the fact that she speak directly to Whoopi Goldberg and addressed, you know, how that all went down and how she feels about it. But let's let Kempire talk about it a little bit, y'all. Let me go ahead and get that up here for us to listen to, and I will meet y'all in the chat. And y'all also let me know, what do y'all think about this? Like, what was y'all thoughts and feelings when all of this went down? And Monique is not the only one who has experienced this in the said industries. A lot of artists has been experiencing these same things and tried to tell us and tried to speak on it many, many times. And they typically all get the same response and the same rollout. They are difficult to work with. They are crazy. They are jealous. They are mad. They're in their feelings. Anything negative you can say about someone who is literally just trying to sit there and tell you the truth and stand for it, and also stand for their own rights. So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But let's hear a little bit from Kempire and we'll be right back. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on with the next video because I cannot play that one. So we're gonna move on with our next topic. But if y'all do want to hear some of the commentary from the Kempire channel, please go over and check him out and subscribe to his channel. Watch the videos. You'll have a good time over there. He's very classy. He's very calm and collective. I really love watching his commentary. And he thinks a lot of like the same way that I do. So it's like a lot of times when I hear him make commentary on certain topics, I'm like, yo, I was just thinking that. But anyway, y'all, let's move right along. So now we're going to go ahead and get into our next topic for the live. We're going to talk about Trump. You know, we got to talk about Trump. It's unfortunate how much we have to talk about Trump, but it is necessary. So we're going to go ahead now and talk about Trump and the U.S. defenses fails its allies. And all of this is basically happening because of things that he has decided to do and put into place. And so this is what we're experiencing, and this is what we're going through. So anyway, let's go ahead and hear a little bit from Midas Touch. So let me go ahead and get this up on the screen real quick, and I will meet y'all in the chat as we listen together.
All hell is breaking loose as the United States defense infrastructure in the Middle East and across the entire world is falling apart. This air of invincibility that was once attached to the United States military and international defense apparatus has been destroyed in record time by Donald Trump and his despicable regime. Our allies, or I should say, former allies in the Middle East, who would bribe Donald Trump with all that quid pro quo money, believing that Donald Trump was able to provide this critical defense capabilities and technologies for their countries. Well, that's being exposed as yet another Trump fraud and grift, because the Iranian Shahed drones, the Iranian unmanned vehicles that are in the water as well, that are attacking these boats in the Strait of Hormuz, these unmanned vessels, I should say. This is causing a massive, not just disaster in the Middle East, but a total loss of confidence in the United States. And it is restructuring a world order. It's unfolding before our eyes, with America no longer as a leader or a dependable ally at all. That's an understatement. I want to share with you what somebody by the name of Patricia Marins has been saying. And I think that her description here is apt. Here's what she writes. The war exposed the collapse of American protection. In less than 1 hour after being hit by the U.S. and Israel, Iran responded with surgical precision, striking 17 American installations across the Middle East. Successive waves of missiles and drones forced U.S. troops to abandon their bases and scramble for shelter in luxury hotels, which then became targets themselves. It has now been 13 straight days of continuous bombardments with multiple waves every single day and no sign of fatigue. Let me pause there in this description, because I also want to be very clear. The United States and Israel have certainly bombarded Iran with missile strikes, tomahawks, and a massive, massive assault on Iran, not just in Tehran, but all across Iran. We also know that the United States and Israel have struck elementary schools and hospitals and desalination facilities and other civilian facilities as well, resulting in thousands of civilian deaths, which have sadly rallied the Iranian people around their new Ayatollah Mojtaba instead of rallying around the United States, when there was such incredible hope, at least a little bit, I thought, in January when there were all those protests in Iran. So the U.S. and Israel are striking Iran, but Iran is striking its neighbors. Northern Israel is being bombarded with these Iranian strikes. And it also seems that Iran has been able to develop, likely with the help of the Russians and the Chinese, all of these new weapon systems that have been more difficult for the U.S. Patriots and THAADs to be able to strike down in the region. And now the U.S. has to take away some of its THAAD and Patriot systems from South Korea to move it now to the Middle East. We see South Korean media broadcasting videos of their missile systems that were promised to them by the United States being taken away, because it seems that Iran has been able to strike and destroy a lot of these THAAD systems positioned in the Middle East that the United States had positioned there. And meanwhile, you have Kim Jong-un of North Korea posting videos and photos of himself trolling Donald Trump while he engages in missile tests. Take a look at this. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un oversaw the test launch of strategic cruise missiles from a new 5,000-ton naval destroyer, the country's state media said. As Tenzing Lamsing writes, North Korea trolling right now. This missile test comes after the U.S. removed its THAAD missile interceptors from South Korea and is sending it to the Gulf. And what we've seen with a lot of these videos coming out through some of these open source intelligence sites being shared in the region, these U.S. interceptors, the THAAD, the Patriots, have struggled. I mean, they've done a good job, but they've struggled to deal with some of the new Iranian workarounds, with some of the new Iranian drones and missiles and cluster munitions. Anyway, let me go back to what Patricia Marins was writing here. These strikes by Iran are not limited to the bases. They are hammering roads, airports, ports, hotels, and power plants. We saw the ships, 3 of them just yesterday alone in the Strait of Hormuz. that was successfully hit by Iran. We saw off the coast of Iraq while you had the ship-to-ship transfer taking place. There was a strike, and one of them was, I believe, a Malta flag ship doing the ship-to-ship transfer with a Marshall Island flag. The Malta, I believe, is Greek owned. The Marshall Islands, I believe, is actually a U.S. owned ship doing this transfer when this unmanned vessel of Iran struck and crushed it and put all of this oil into the water, which was a disaster. I mean, I think more oil in the water there than the Valdez oil spill, it looks like. But anyway, I digress. Let's just keep getting through this together. Evacuation orders exist on papers, but they are being carried out at a snail's pace because security is non-existent and far too many troops are still trapped under fire. Almost no one remains at the American bases anymore. Even the refueling aircraft that operated out of Saudi Arabia have been pulled out and relocated to Germany. The message to the Gulf countries is crystal clear. The U.S. can't even protect its own bases, so you're on your own. The sense of invincibility that lasted for decades has been shattered. Critical radars destroyed, interceptors running on fumes, bases bombed, Iranian missiles still launching, the Strait of Hormuz still closed, and Gulf allies left completely exposed. All of this is being watched in real time by Asian countries that until yesterday were betting everything on American power to contain China. The red light is flashing bright. If the U.S. couldn't defend the Gulf against Iran, what real chance do they have of protecting anyone against Beijing? Up until February 28th, American protection felt absolute. Today, it feels like something else entirely. The collapse of that decades-long myth of absolute security is the deepest and most lasting indirect effect of this war. By the way, it's not over yet. This war is still raging with no sign of ending anytime soon. The one thing that I would only add is that you can have some, but I would edit a little bit. And I think it was a good description, though, by Patricia right here, though. You can have the best weapon systems, the most powerful this, the most powerful that, but in the hands of someone who doesn't know how to wield it, even the most complex and advanced systems are not able to be used effectively. Remember, Donald Trump gutted the military, right, of its top leadership. Pete Hegseth, remember, fired and pushed out some of our top generals. And you had the Peter Principle, or something even worse, the Pete Hegseth Principle, which is even worse than the Peter Principle. You had some of the best talent moved out and people who were loyal and sycophants rising to the top. And so we've also lost some of our talent who knows some of the best military tactics. And when you have Hegseth and Trump running this, that's a big problem. When you have people like Doug Burgum speaking for the Trump regime, it's a big problem. The Interior Secretary talking about the war in Iran and saying that our Gulf state allies have never been happier. I mean, when you say this, it doesn't just hurt our credibility, it shatters it. What do you mean that the Gulf states have never been happier? Tell that to Oman and Kuwait and the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Bahrain and Iraq and Iran and Lebanon, plus the whole Strait of Hormuz travel paths, and Israel. These are countries that have been hit on day 12 of the war. All of these countries have been hit and hit hard by Iran. And again, I'm not trying to undersell the viciousness, or to use Hegseth's term, the lethality of the U.S. strikes in Iran. But it's also just false to say that we've obliterated Iranian capabilities when Iranian capabilities seem to be actually escalating and improving by the day. And I'm just telling you facts. You may not like these facts, but that's what's actually happening now in the region. And we can't be watching this U.S. propaganda. We can understand when we're being fed Iranian propaganda or Russian propaganda. I understand that propaganda is trying to hit us from all of these sides. I get it. But what I also know is what I can see, what I can observe, what I see happening and what I see taking place in the Strait of Hormuz, when Donald Trump says it's perfect. And then I see photos like this from Thai media showing crew members who worked aboard a Thai flag cargo ship that was hit by Iran, and 2 others were hit by Iran. I can observe that the Strait of Hormuz is not safe, right? When Trump's energy secretary says we're doing naval escorts in the Strait of Hormuz, and then he takes it down, I go, oh my gosh, they're lying. When the Trump regime claims that Iran did a Tomahawk missile on its own elementary school, killing 150 little girls and 175, 185 people total, I go, I know that's a lie. I know that's a lie because I'm observing it. So when Trump says, oh, Iran has no more capabilities, they've totally been decimated, but I see the skyscrapers that are being hit. I mean, look at the skyscraper hit right here. Iranian drone struck Dubai overnight, hitting a skyscraper building in Creek Harbor. I see what is happening right here. I'm aware of it. So yes, I can sort through the propaganda, but I can give you the facts. And so when Burgum, the Interior Secretary, says our Gulf allies have never been happier with us, stop it. They've never been more livid. What the U.S. did by invading Iran because we believed Israel was going to invade first and that could lead to Iran attacking us, by doing that and not standing up and telling Netanyahu, no, we don't have your back. That's what Trump should have said. If you're a powerful, tough U.S., that's what you should say. But by rushing into this, we've now created this disaster, did not warn our Middle East allies. So stop with the propaganda. You know what Burgum said. Here's what Burgum said.
When these Gulf states know their refineries being targeted and and the oil storage being targeted, what do you say to our Gulf state allies at this time? What's your advice to them?
Well, I think our Gulf state allies have never been happier than they have now to have U.S. military presence in their country and to have a strong relationship, both economically and in terms of energy industry with the United States. They understand, who supports them and who supports their growth and prosperity.
All right. Now, also the new Ayatollah Mojaba, according to the Jerusalem Post. I'll read you what the Jerusalem Post here says. Mojaba Khamenei, the new Ayatollah, deadlier than his father. His ex-study partner of the supreme leader tells the Post, this is an unmitigated disaster from every aspect of it as well. Read you more from what Patricia Marins has to say here, because I think she has a number of, very good insights in this point. How the American military cannot leave Iraq and what that tells us right now. So here's the article by ABC. U.S. struggles to evacuate American personnel from facilities under fire in Iraq. American military cannot leave Iraq. With an order to evacuate bases 10 days ago, military cannot leave and remain under intense fire from Iranian drones and local Shiite militias. Iran managed to open fire against almost all American bases in the region to the point that the military had to abandon these bases in billion-dollar losses. Patriots were powerless in the face of the number of attacks. However, I believe that the anti-drone systems of these bases were not strengthened for an eventual confrontation with Iran. She said later, I will write how this redraws the role of the American military presence in the Middle East and completely broke the confidence of Asian countries in the American ability to give them comfort. And we talked about that before. And this risk now expands, by the way, across Europe, across Eastern Europe, across the world. So one of the things we know is that Romania is now granting the United States permission to deploy aircraft and up to 500 troops to support operations in Iran, whereas Spain is saying, absolutely not, we're not doing that. The UK is saying, nope, you can't use us for offensive attacks. France is saying, nope, you can't use us for offensive attacks. Why? These countries realize that if they give America the ability to do that, Iran's going to try to hit them with drones. And Iran is capable of doing that based on the distance right now. And so, as Patricia Marin says here, the risk of this is that from Tabriz to Romania, it is less than 2,000 kilometers, very much within the range of Iranian missiles. I would say that Iran today has at least 6 missiles and variants capable of hitting Romanian territory. Iran has not feared reactions when choosing its targets involved in attacks on its own territory. Spain very recently disauthorized the use of its bases and territories for actions connected to attacks on Iran. The involvement in Romania is another escalation of a conflict that agonizes without having reached any objective until this date. The American government has hesitated to put other countries at risk in its conflict, but not anymore. Let me share this video with you as well. This video right here, I think, shows where the American military bases were struck right when the war began by Iran. And again, I'm not downplaying that the United States has been, again, hitting Iran very, very hard. But again, when Trump says they're totally decimated, that's not what's happening right now. Here, just play this video. Let's play it.
This is Iran. This is Israel. And this is 33 kilometers wide Strait of Hormuz. Today I will show you American military bases in Middle East, starting with Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, UAE, Oman, Kuwait, Iraq, Jordan, Syria, and Turkey. Now I will show you the bases which are under attack by Iran. Number 1 target was Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Number 2 was Al Dhafra Air Base in UAE. Third is Ali Al Salam Air Base in Kuwait, NSA in Bahrain, Askan Village in Saudi Arabia, Muwafaq Al Salti Air Base in Jordan, Ain Al Assas Air Base in Iraq, Erbil Air Base in Iraq.
And meanwhile, you have Iranian military leadership saying the following: not a single liter of oil will pass through the Strait of Hormuz if it benefits the U.S., Israel, and allies. This is the military spokesperson who's holding daily briefings. By the way, our intelligence community in the United States and Israeli intelligence says that the Iranian regime has not been decimated, even though Trump claims they are, and that the Iranian regime remains largely intact. That's the reality of what's happening. That's what our own intelligence community says. Not only are they intact, they have a more extreme leader in Mojaba. The military spokesperson warns that any tanker bound for them will be a legitimate target. One of the statements that's also being made as well by Iran seems to suggest that they will be focused on the Red Sea soon using. So you have there's Persian Gulf, Red Sea, and you've got the Strait of Hormuz there. But then separately, you have the Red Sea, which is an alternate route where you can try to move the oil. The Strait of Hormuz, usually a preferred route from the tankers. 20% of the oil goes through there, but the Red Sea is an area where you can try to divert some of the oil to. But there you have the Houthis, and one of the things that we're seeing is that Iran is basically saying the following: senior Iranian military official to Al Jazeera, if Washington makes a strategic mistake, another strait will be placed in a situation similar to the Strait of Hormuz. And as Patricia writes, they are preparing the close of the Red Sea using the Houthis. Possibly at this moment, they are transferring weapons to Yemen. Now, as I said, there are independent sources that are verifying what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, and that in the last 24 hours, there is a significant increase, not decrease, increase in targeting of commercial shipping vessels and oil tankers in the Persian Gulf and around the Strait of Hormuz by Iran. So if you're like, Ben, I don't believe what you're saying. What are you telling me here? You're just saying a lot of things. I'm being told on another American media that we're decimating them. Well, just take a look right here what the United Kingdom Maritime Organization has to say, or the UK Office of Maritime Operations. They're reporting more attacks on container ships in the Persian Gulf, this time in the United Arab Emirates. And then there was the 3 others yesterday morning. There's this one last night. This is increasing. We have other ways to verify this stuff. And as Patricia writes, Iran opened several attack fronts using decentralized command and control units that work successfully. No one received more attacks than Israel. The damage in Israel is much greater than in the 12-day war. Israel attacked a lot and was heavily attacked itself without achieving any objectives in this war. Iran is about to come out victorious in the war, which it administered 8 fronts, with Oman included. As I warned for weeks, it would be a very difficult and long war. Several factors call attention and contradict Western predictions, and one of them is the number of missiles that Iran is capable of sustaining beyond a short term. And again, what's Jerusalem Post writing? After 11 days of fighting, Israel has received 9,115 missile damage claims, 6,586 buildings, 1,044 content equipments, 1,485 vehicles. Again, we got to pay attention to what is happening out there. And just look right here at this video as you'll see the Patriot missile system, the interceptors versus the Iranian missiles. So this is a perfect example. I think that Patricia does a good job showing this video. And on March 3rd, Iran attacked an oil storage facility in the UAE. We reported on it then, right? The attack was filmed by Chinese sailors. You see them right here. And one of the things you see here are 6 Patriots against 2 Iranian missiles. And those missiles are able to evade the Patriots. Now, these Patriots cost millions and millions of dollars each. And one of the things we're seeing is when you have these THAAD systems and Patriot systems, you're using billion-dollar equipment with millions and millions of dollars of weapons to try to take out $20,000 drones. And how do we know that some of these drones aren't dummy drones that actually don't have any actual live munitions in it and are being...
All right, y'all. So I just wanted to take a quick commentary break real quick, and then we'll have to take a song break and move right along. But I know y'all been watching this. We watch it together. We watch it on our own, okay? I just kind of want to break a little bit of this down a little bit for anybody who's seeing the headlines about Iran and they feel a little bit lost in the politics. So because if you don't understand the why, it just feels like you're seeing and witnessing random chaos. But there is a pattern here, is one that we need to talk about with our hearts open, because this is what I believe sits in the back of all of it that's missing. So what we're watching when it comes to this Operation Epic Fury, it isn't just about good guys versus bad guys. When you peel back the layers, you see a much darker truth. This is a war that basically is over resources. It is about who controls oil flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. It's about the rare minerals and the trade routes that make billionaires even richer. And that is the deepest tragedy of all, okay? Because we're watching a world where those in power are willing to trade human lives for literally barrels of oil and sacks of minerals or coals. I want us to think about that for a second. While the U.S. is spending $1 billion almost a day on this conflict, we are being told that our unbeatable technology is the gold standard. But as we look at this can be a teaching moment. And I got to tell y'all the truth. That power is actually starting to show its limits. When Iranian missiles are able to bypass our most expensive defense system, the ones we promised would protect everyone, it proves that hardware isn't a substitute for peace. We've even seen the heartbreak of our own missiles malfunctioning and hitting civilian homes in Bahrain. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's scary to watch this. It's scary because it feels like the people at the top are playing a game of chess or battleship, but they're using our sons and daughters and innocent families across the globe as the pawns or the casualties. And you know what's happening. The rest of the world is waking up to this. Other countries, rightfully so, are looking at this and saying, we can't just rely on one superpower anymore, as that is what the United States claims has always been. They are moving to protect their own people because they see that when the fight is over, resources, the guarantees of protection start to fade more and more. They are diversifying. They're looking for new allies, and they're doing it because they had to survive, financially or physically. It's just so sad to watch humanity prioritize resources over souls. You can always find more oil. You can always find more minerals or coals. But we can never, ever, ever replace the lives being lost in these deserts and cities right now. So when you hear about the strategic importance of the Middle East, I want us to remember the most important thing in the region and in our own towns isn't what's in the ground. It's the people that's standing on the ground. We have to start praying for a shift. We have to pray that the people leading this world start caring more about the breath in a child's lungs than the oil in a tanker somewhere in another country. Because right now, the cost of war is far higher than any price per barrel that you can pay. So that's just my thoughts on that, y'all. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick song break. After this song break, we will be moving right along to our next story, where we'll have to talk about the 12-year-old girl, Ava, who was bullied and harassed and unfortunately decided to take her own life. We will be getting into that story just after this song, y'all. I will be right back.
Righteous wage to earn. These are the needs, the bedrock and the base, the sacred ground of the whole human race. But the screaming and selling something cheap, while the real world babies cry themselves to sleep. We are human, blood and bone and soul, with a right to be loved, a right to be made whole. This is our story, this is our sacred song. In the eyes of the Creator is where we all belong. We are human, with more beyond the hate who's in the loaded dice. We're human, worth more than they can prize. Beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded dice. They're painting pictures twisted and real, teaching our children how they ought to feel. That values in the label on your shoes, or the filtered life you desperately choose. They magnify the hate, they celebrate the greed and plant a poison, a suffocating weed. We gotta reach our children, pull them from the glow, and show them a beauty that the media don't know. Yo, check the vision, the mission of the television, spitting division, a mental prison. Got the youth chasing likes, addicted to the feed, ignoring the hunger, the fundamental need. They building paper idols on a digital stage, putting our future daughters in a virtual cage. Now we gotta break the cycle, gotta cut the cord. The real word is powerful, mightier than the sword. So we teach them about their history, teach them about their grace, teach them about the power in every single face. We are human, blood and bone and soul, with a right to be loved, a right to be made whole. This is our story, this is our sacred song. In the eyes of the Creator, it's where we all belong. We are human, worth more than they can price. Beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded dice. Human, worth more than they can price. Beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded dice. track, this a call to action. For every mother, father, every single fraction of the community holding it down on the ground. Time to get loud, make a revolutionary sound. Look your child in the eye, tell them that they matter. Tell them their spirit's something that no lie can shatter. Tell them knowledge is the weapon, love is the shield, and the truth is the harvest we gonna grow in this field. Yeah! We are here! Yes, we are! Teach the children near and far. Let them know their sacred work for every single soul on this a right to live, a gift to get.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with me through that song break. We're going to go ahead and get into this next topic for the live. And this one, just as actually all of them actually, are very stressful, very emotional. But this one, I believe, is extremely emotional because we were talking about a 12-year-old young little girl that was bullied so bad and so much that she decided that she no longer wanted to be here and took actions to remove herself from this world. So we got to pull in close for this one, okay? Now, this is a name of a little girl, Ava Little, that should be still associated with laughter, school dances, big dreams, but instead it's associated with a tragedy that should have never happened. Only 12 years old, she was just a baby, a sixth grader with her whole life ahead of her. But on March 9th, that light went out because she felt like she could not take the weight of this world anymore. Her family is standing there today with shattered hearts, telling us, the public, that she was bullied relentlessly. They reached out for help multiple times. They begged the school system to step in and do something. And yet, here we are, mourning a child. It makes me angry and emotional because it is incredibly sad. And we see that this is something that's happening every day in many places, not just our youth or children or teenagers or preteens that are in school systems, but even adults and individuals that are on social media platforms. We have to understand how truly dangerous bullying is. It's not just to be chalked up as kids being kids anymore. It's not character building. It is a slow, painful breaking of a human spirit. And we have to realize that our youth, especially at 12 years old, 13 years old, they're so fragile. Their hearts are still forming. Their sense of who they are is still being built. They don't have the calluses that we may have as adults. When you pour hate into a heart that young, day after day after day, you don't know what the final straw is going to be. You don't know what one comment, what one post, or one hallway whisper is going to be the thing that finally pushes someone over the edge. So when it comes to bullying, not just with our youth, but with us as people, period, it has to stop. It has to stop in the schools. It has to stop on social media. And it starts with us in our homes. We have to teach our children that words have power to kill. We have to be nosy parents. Check the phones, look at the messages, and watch their eyes when they come home from school. If they seem quiet, if they seem dim, don't let it go. And to the schools and the administrators, we're holding you accountable. You cannot ignore the cries of parents. You cannot wait and see when it could possibly be a child's life is on the line. So to anyone listening right now who feels like Ava did, if you feel like the weight is too much, please, please know that you are loved, you are wanted, you are precious. This world is better with you in it. And the darkness you feel right now is not the end of your story. We have to do better for our children. We have to do better as a people. And many, just like Ava, have been failed. So let's make sure we don't fail the next child or person. Let's choose kindness, because we truly never know the battle someone is fighting behind closed doors. So y'all, I also have some information here. We have, excuse me, the suicide and crisis lifeline information that I'll be providing in the chat. And I'll be doing that while I play this report for us real quick so we can hear from the family and the actual news report about Ava. So let's go ahead and get into that, and I will be posting the hotlines in the comment section. I will be right back.
So a family says a bullying incident at school is linked to the death of their 12-year-old daughter, and now they're planning to take legal action.
Gigi Graciette live in the Sawtelle neighborhood with this story. Gigi.
Mario and Jen, in just over an hour, the attorneys for the family of 12-year-old Kimberly Zavaleta will be officially announcing they're suing the Los Angeles School District, Unified School District, over what they say was repeated bullying at Reseda Charter High School. Take a look. According to the family, on February 17th, Kimberly stepped in to defend her sister, who they say was being bullied by a group of students on campus. During that confrontation, Kimberly was hit in the head with a metal water bottle, they say. She was taken to UCLA Mattel Children's Hospital, where she underwent brain surgery and was then placed in a medically induced coma. She died shortly after. At a vigil for her last month, we spoke to her uncle.
If there's a cautionary tale here, is that this should not happen to anybody's kid. It's the fear of every parent and every uncle and every brother and every loved one to lose someone. But especially when it's somebody so young that did nothing wrong to anybody.
Now, LA Unified has not yet responded to the news of the lawsuit. We just reached out to them this morning, but earlier they said the safety and well-being of our students is taken very seriously. We are cooperating with law enforcement in connection with this incident. And it's very important to note that this morning we reached out to both the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner and the LAPD, and both of them confirmed that they have not determined how and why 12-year-old Kimberly Zavaleta died. As a matter of fact, the medical examiner told us they've asked for additional tests, and officially the cause of death has been deferred until those test results are in. We'll have much more on this story coming up on Good Day LA and Fox 11. For now, I'm Gigi Graciette in West Los Angeles.
Yeah, we'll continue to follow that story. So sad. Thank you, Gigi.
All right, y'all. So now I'm going to show you the second follow-up to that. There's a little bit longer and has a little bit more additional details, and also some words from the parents, family. So, and I did go ahead and post some of those helplines and hotlines in the chat. So if anybody's out there feeling, this way, or having a difficult time, or whatever it is you're going through, whatever you're dealing with in life, there are resources and places you can call, people you can talk to. Try and reach out to speak with someone, please, before making, any of these type of decisions that are final. Because once you make it, you can't take it back, and that's the unfortunate part. So if anybody needs someone to talk to, there are resources. I have posted them in the comment section in the chat. All right, let's get into this next video. It's just additional report with some more details as to what happened. So we'll do that, and I'll meet y'all in the chat, and then we'll be moving along to the next topic.
Our Kevin Stewart is following up on a little girl who, Kevin, I understand is in a coma or brain dead after being bullied. What can you tell us?
Yeah, family is in the process of doing funeral arrangements as we speak. We had a chance to speak to them earlier today. This little girl, her name is Jada West. She's 12 years old. She is a student at Mason Creek Middle School, I should say, in Douglas County. She lives in Villa Rica on the Douglas County side, and she actually is someone who moved from Bowdoin to start the second semester here in January. So she's a new student at the school, and her parents say that she has been bullied since going to that school. She said I'm told that her dad went to the school to try to deal with some of these issues. There's an issue with a boy and there's an issue with a girl. And what ended up happening on Thursday is that she got into an argument with a girl on the bus, and then that spilled out onto the street at her bus stop. She walked down the street. There's video of this circulating on social media, and the family asked us not to show that video. And so we are honoring that request. And then a fight ensues, and Jada falls to the ground. She gets back up and she seems like she might be okay. And then she walks away and then she falls again to the ground. Because she was near home, one of her girlfriends, the little girl, she ran to get Jada's mom. Mom comes out to the scene and sees her child on the floor, not breathing. And so they take her to Tanner Medical Center, Villa Rica. Then she's air flighted to Scottish Rite Children's Hospital. And unfortunately, she was pronounced dead on Sunday, brain dead. And now they are in the process of making funeral arrangements. Right now, they do not know what killed that little girl. They're waiting on an autopsy, but the family is putting one and one together and saying, this equals two. This fight, this bullying led to this. I want you to take a listen to her mom right now.
I'm angry. We gotta teach our children. I'm angry. What happened to the love? What happened to the love? We lost our love, people. Teaching children to love. Violence is not the key. Have a heart. Have a heart. Love. The Lord wants us to love one another.
Absolutely heartbreaking. And the video that I mentioned just a few moments ago, that video that's been circulating is now in the hands of the Villa Rica Police Department. The Villa Rica Police Department and the Douglas County District Attorney's Office are looking at this video and doing interviews, and they'll figure out what the next steps here. But right now, no one has been charged in this case. Ariel?
Kevin, the pain and anguish in that mother's voice, it's like a gut punch. I can't even imagine what that family is going through given this situation. Has the school district said anything? Is there any further information about it sounding like the father trying to put an end to this and taking action about the bullying his daughter was facing? Any information that they might be sharing?
The school system didn't directly deal with that part, but did put out a statement basically offering its condolences and saying that because this incident took place off of school property, they don't want to comment any further other than to say that law enforcement is handling this case at this moment.
Okay, good to know. Kevin, before I let you go, any final questions besides obviously what police are going to find as a course of this investigation? Anything else that you're taking a look at, ways that maybe people can get involved and help this family? Any of that out yet?
Yeah, you know, I did ask the family if they had anything like that going on, and right now they don't. They're still planning their funeral, but this is truly an awful situation, and they really they provided the video for us, but they had second thoughts and said, please don't put that video out there, and we certainly will respect that. It's when you look at the video, you do not see the second end where she's falling on the ground and the mom comes to get her, but you do see the initial fight where they get the deuce up, they start punching and they go to the ground and she gets up and it seems like she's okay, but obviously that is truly an extremely uncomfortable thing to watch for the family and for the mom. So we definitely did not want to put that video back out there.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick song break. I just need a minute. But we want to say rest in peace to Ava, and there's many others that have also been in the same predicament as well that are no longer with us. We want to say rest in peace to them as well. So let me go ahead and play this song, and I'll be right back, guys, and we'll get to the next topic.
Oh, oh, mm. Another light gone dark, another star fades out.
Yeah. We lost another one. Yeah.
Check the timeline, another face in a frame. Same caption, different name, the hurt remains the same. We scroll past, maybe pause, feel away for a minute. Then it's back to the race, but some ain't get to finish. We saw the smile, the highlight reel, they let us see. Never the weight on their shoulders, a silent plea. Battling demons on the room with the doors all locked. While we was watching their hands go round on the clock. Just as a regular person with a story untold. Heart full of warmth that suddenly gone cold. The quiet ones in the corner, the light for the party. You just never know the war that's waged inside somebody's body. To the fallen angel, another beautiful soul gone too soon. Caught between the trials and the pain, though they were reaching for the sun, but got lost in the moon. So let's be kinder the time we have left, 'cause you never know the weight on someone's chest. A final quiet love, cornerstone sword.
Yeah, it's the ripple that hurts the most, the empty space they leave, the memories that haunt the ones who are left to grieve. A mother's child, a partner's love, a ride or die best friend, a storybook that slammed shut right before the end. We judge the cover, never reading what's inside the pages. Assume the strength, ignoring all the war that rages. A simple word, a loving gesture, are you good, that's real, could be the very anchor that somebody needs to feel. So check on your strong friends, the ones that never seem to break, 'cause sometimes the widest smiles are the easiest to fake.
Counting all the promises, the world just
All right, y'all. Excuse me. So I'm back. Okay. I just wanted to go ahead and play it. I think it actually is a song that really ties into a lot of the feelings and emotions that I'm sure many people are probably going through. Not just the family and friends of Ava here, but many other people who are suffering from a loss. So I did want to play that. And I did need just a moment to get myself together because, you know, watching this stuff and seeing these things play out day to day, it's hard sometimes. It's hard to watch. It's sad. It makes you sad, but it also makes me angry. When I get sad, I get angry because I want it to stop. I want it to end. And I'm just wondering and hoping and wishing and praying, probably just like many other people, that we finally see a day where we don't have to have these type of headlines that we have to talk about. We don't have to have these type of experiences that we have to live through and suffer through. And so I get that way sometimes. But anyway, now we do have one more that we have to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get into this next report here. So this is a active shooter that basically was in a temple, Israel, in West Bloomfield in Michigan. So sources are saying that the active shooter threat located in that area, they saw smoke that was spewing from the building and several police vehicles that were spotted around the perimeter. And that is what they have reported to be an active shooter that was on the scene. There's also several police vehicles seen in the area. So we do have some reports here of the police responding to that possible active shooter being present at a Michigan synagogue. And we'll get into that and talk about that in a little bit more detail in just a minute. When we're talking about temples and churches and places of worship and groups of people. I have a few things I'll say about that, but let's go ahead and get into the report first, and we'll be right back for some commentary. I'll meet y'all in the chat per usual. Here we go.
Scene is specifically at Temple, Israel in Michigan right there. So we did want to share that with you. According to our Fox 2 Detroit team, Walnut Lake Road, that is where the scene is, and this is in West Bloomfield. So we're going to raise the audio and listen in to our Fox 2 Detroit team.
Right above this airspace. So.
That does kind of explain why Skyfox was moving away from the scene. The last images we saw from Skyfox before the chopper had to evacuate the flight zone, the area, airspace above what is Temple, Israel, was more emergency vehicles arriving. Initially, what we saw at least a couple of police cars. We saw one EMS truck, one fire truck, but then at the end, I had counted 5 police cars before Skyfox was on the way out. So it did appear that there were more officers arriving on the scene.
So a little bit of information that we do have, West Bloomfield schools, Bloomfield Hills schools are in secure mode due to this situation. Also, the no-fly zone is why our chopper shot was interrupted. We had to move away from the scene just to clear, because that's what the authorities are telling us to do. Also, Jewish organizations throughout Metro Detroit, I believe, are in a protocol to be cautious of this situation as it continues to develop. Now, when a situation happens like this and our country is in the middle of conflict like we are, it is going to have national ramifications with what is happening at that synagogue in West Bloomfield right now.
Yeah, what I think is going to be a big question answered is there a connection to what we're being told is an active shooter situation and all that smoke that we saw?
Right.
I mean, your brain can try to connect the dots in many different ways, but what was initially told to us is that there's an active shooter situation at Temple, Israel. We got a live shot of it. We started seeing smoke billowing from out of the roof in 2 different spots, and then we started seeing smoke billowing out of the front door. So, you know, is there a connection with that? We will learn learn more as we get more information coming in, but it does seem that there's a couple different things happening here.
Yeah, and the fire trucks is on the scene. We saw them deploy their ladders as their effort in getting into the building as well. And unfortunately, this is the only view we have is the location map of Temple Israel, the synagogue in West Bloomfield. So we do know that there is a situation happening there. We're told it's an active shooter, but we are efforting getting more information. And as protocol dictates, yes, there are schools that are being told to lock in place, and as everyone is being more cautious. We do have crews on the way. Our reporters are on the way to West Bloomfield to give us more information, but until then, we can only tell you what we have been told.
Our reporter looks like Scott Wolchek is on his way there. So who knows how close he can get in an active situation like this. But as soon as they are in a safe position to bring us a signal and to bring us some information, we will connect with Scott. But here's what we know in the meantime. The statement issued by the Jewish Federation of Detroit. We are aware of a security incident at Temple Israel. We are advising all Jewish organizations to go into probably lockdown protocol. Nobody in or out of your building. That's from the Jewish Federation of Detroit.
Yeah, reporter on scene. We do have a reporter on scene. And the cops, they said that the police have also stopped. They have roadblocks set up, and they are on foot heading in as well. So the active scene has stopped traffic in that area. We do have our chopper shot back, stopped. Area. Is this live or tape? Tape. This is tape. So this is the tape video that we were able to obtain before.
All right, y'all. So we're just listening to the audio. They are showing some of the exact locations as to where this threat was with this active shooter, and they're showing it, from the geolocations up top, the Google location. So that's basically what they're showing in the video, but I'm just playing the audio because they're giving the reports basically more so via audio than much that's being shown in the video. So, and for these type of things, they try to respect the imagery that they put out because it's still under investigation as to what is really going on. So yeah, y'all can hear some of the audio from that, but let's keep going. It's just a few more things that they are reporting on, and then we will be moving into our final topic for the live. But let me continue to play this, and I'll meet y'all in the chat.
Before we were told to push our chopper out of the way. And you can just see the beginning of the smoke beginning to bellow, which got worse as time went on. But once again, according to one of our reporters that is close to the scene, that there are police on scene with assault rifles heading into not only the parking lot, but into that area to deal with whatever the situation is there. We're told it's an active shooter. We can or could see, this is earlier video of smoke coming from the synagogue. And there's a fire, appears to be a fire, smoke coming from the synagogue. What appears to be a fire is all we can say at this point.
Yeah, there's also some video coming into Fox 2 here of Oakland County Sheriff's members with assault rifles that appear to be approaching the area. So this does look like an active shooter situation here.
Even so, just with the people gathered right outside of the building, again, if you're wondering how are people being secured, usually they want you further away from the building. So we're taking that into account as well. Again, there's very limited information on this right now, but This is a tape right now that we're looking at. So this was just a few moments ago when Sky Fox was in the area. There isn't is right now, but we are continuing to effort our crew to get closer and closer to the area, as we know some of the roads are blocked off as well.
All right, y'all. So we was able to get through that video. It was very short, just about 6 minutes or so, but there's some type of interference going on with the video. I don't know. Like I said, our weather is bad here, so I'm sorry if it was kind of choppy and skippy, guys. I don't intend for it to be that way. I like for everything to move smooth so we can hear exactly what's being said and what's going on. But we are about to go ahead and get into our final video for the live, and it will have a little bit more of uplifting spirits while still dealing with, you know, severities of situations that are realistically happening that we need to talk about. But yeah, as far as the situations that we see happening, it's almost one after the other. And I know it can be a lot, y'all. I really do. And, you know, we can take breaks from it. We can take pauses so we don't get overwhelmed. But I want y'all to hear me on this, okay? Allegedly, this is a man who took a truck and a rifle and drove those things right into the heart of a house of worship, Temple Israel in West Bloomfield. We have to continuously keep thinking about this. These are places where people go to find peace. These are places that are houses of preschool sometimes, a place where sometimes babies and innocent children are just starting their day, whether they're in, you know, like worship school or Sunday school. And this is someone who is deciding that they want to go out and bring firearms and bring hate into a peaceful sanctuary. It is absolutely terrifying to watch the footage of the smoke pouring out of that synagogue. I didn't show that for trigger warning purposes because a lot of this can be a bit much for people to see. But it's scary to think that in 2026, we are still seeing people targeted for just how they pray. When the FBI has stepped in and called something an apparent act of terrorism at a house of God or a house of worship, we have to stop and ask ourselves, what is really happening to our world? But I also want us to look at the light in this darkness too. Because of the bravery of the security team, those men and women who stood their ground and faced possible gunfire, every single child in that building gets to go home to their parents tonight. They did their job. They protected the babies. They protected the people. And while one guard, yes, is in the hospital right now, we are praying for his swift recovery because he is what it truly is to be a hero. It is very tragic that we have armed guards and active shooter drills at a synagogue or a church or a school. It's heartbreaking that the Jewish community in Michigan has to live with this kind of fear. We have to stand against this. We cannot let hate become the noise that we just get used to, whether it's in our own towns or if it's a suburb in Michigan. A threat to one of us is a threat to all of us. So I hope this evening we all can say from this that we need to hug our children a little tighter. We need to keep our families and our temples and our churches safer. We pray for the first responders. And most of all, we pray that we can find a way to let people live and practice their faith in peace without fear of trucks running through the building or weapons like guns coming through the door. We have to be better than this as a people. And I hope one day we will be. And so now we're going to go ahead and take another really quick, short song break, y'all. And then after that, we're going to get into our final topic of the live, where Brian Donalds finally is seeing racism actually does exist and has been existing for the first time. And sometimes people got to learn the hard way. But let's take this song break real quick, and we will be right back with the last topic. I will see y'all in just a moment.
It's enough. It's enough. Yeah. Check the pulse of the nation, feel a tremor in the ground. Another hollow promise, another hateful sound. The burner phones are buzzing, the leak, DMs exposed. The country club whispers about the people in their robes. They smiling for the cameras, preaching unity and grace. We're drafting legislation to keep you in your place. The dog whistles the sirens, now the hoods are in the open. Igniting tiki torch shadows, leaving spirits broken. They want to turn the clock back to a time of guilt and pain, where progress is a dirty word and fear is how they reign. But every soul they try to crush just learn to stand up straighter. This ain't a game of politics, this is gladiator. Enough is enough. The whispers turn into the heat. Official getting shut up. Enough is enough. Where the people at the table filling up our cup. Filling up. This ain't about a party. The lines are clearly drawn. It's the light against the darkness that's coming for the dawn. Holy versus evil is the truth against the lie. We ain't backing down. With a fire in the sky. They coming for the libraries, wanna burn away the facts. Erase the bloody chapter so you can't see the tracks. They gerrymandering the district, drawing every map. Your vote is just an echo caught inside the power trap. They purging names from voter rolls and calling it secure, while scream about election fraud to keep their motives pure. They wanna legislate the scars upon a woman's soul, and own the very choices that were never theirs. Control from the classroom to the courthouse, a calculated scheme to suffocate the promise of the American dream. But they forgot the dream was dreamed by rebels and by slaves, and their spirit is the very ground that trembles in their graves. Enough is enough. Call it policy, they call it survival, we call it tyranny. They stand on podiums with a Bible in their hand, but don't know the first thing about the soul of this land. This is for the teacher hiding books up on the shelf, for the doctor taking notes to more than just himself. This is for the dreamer facing down an ice patrol, for every ancestor's prayer that paid a spirit's toll. Their power is an illusion, a fortress made of glass. Our strength is in the future, they are terrified to let pass this hurricane of justice, an earthquake of the soul. It's a holy fire raging, and it's out of their control. Enough is enough. No more. Standing too long now that you can't stand. Enough is enough. See the people at the table filling up our cup. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
All right, y'all. So thanks for rocking with me with that song break right there. We're gonna go ahead and get to our final video for the live, and it'll be a little bit uplifting because this next guy that we'll be listening to and watching is one of my new faves. Okay, and it's none other than Reese Waters, and I love watching his content. If y'all do not know about his channel and have not checked it out yet, please go over and do so. Subscribe to the channel, watch some of his content, and really become a member over there, because you're going to have a great experience. And if you don't know a lot of the history about him, like I've stated here before on my channel, he has done stand-up comedy. So he is hilarious and funny, but he also covers a lot of important topics, such as I do, when it comes to politics, what's going on in our government, in our world. And he mixes both so equally perfectly. Like, because sometimes we need a little bit of a laugh to keep from crying. You know what I mean? Even though we still talking and we addressing the truth and the seriousness of what's really going on that we can't overlook and pretend not to see. But sometimes we can do it with a little sprinkle of comedy in there. And he does that so excellently every time. And it's just really a very classy person, very respectful. And so we'll be getting into that video in just a moment. But I just want to give y'all just a quick little synopsis of what this one is going to be about, like we spoke about briefly earlier. So Byron Donalds in a GOP Nazi group chat. So on March 5th, 2026, a massive scandal broke involving a WhatsApp chat run by a young Republican leader in Miami-Dade, Florida. The chat was nicknamed Nazi Heaven by its members, contained over 400 instances of the N-word with the hard R, anti-Semitic slurs, and detailed discussions about violently unaliving Black people. Straight like that. I ain't even lying to y'all. That's exactly how they texted and typed it. Unaliving violently in violent ways Black people. In the heat of 2026 Florida governor's race, Donald's Republican opponent, James Fishback, has also been under fire for using racist rhetoric against him, calling Donald's Byron a slave to donors and claiming Donald wants to turn Florida into a Section 8 ghetto. These things were said in the text message, y'all, and the proof is in the pudding. Y'all will see that in just a minute. So, Donalds, who has often defended the party against claims of racism, was forced to issue a strong condemnation, stating that while free speech exists, these vile and offensive comments have no place in leadership. Well, this is not something that he stood for and spoke about before. So he's effing around and finding out, FAFO, and that is a Reese Waters thing, okay? And he has some merch and stuff over there that's really dope with the FAFO, and he has a segment he does on FAFO. So when y'all go over to his channel to check him out, you'll be able to see all of that. So that's in the words of Reese Waters, FAFO. Well, we know we all say that, but anyway. So let's go ahead and get into this video, y'all. I watched this and he covered it so excellently. But you know, this is where we are with a lot of things as well. Not only is it the sad and you know the enraging things that we're seeing, we also are seeing a lot of like truth coming out, and we see a lot of people that are finally getting it after being warned and being told for so long what the truth of the matter is. But they've been in denial, and now they're learning and finding out the hard way. But it seems like that only typically happens when they are directly affected. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this video and watch together. And I'll meet y'all in the chat per usual. And then we'll do our ending thoughts on, you know, a little bit of this topic and some of the other things we discussed here on the live today. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'll meet y'all in the chat.
Enjoy. Yeah, enjoy. No, because y'all been hiding ever since I called y'all to discuss the State of the Union when y'all got, he gave y'all the fake tickets. He gave y'all the fake tickets for the State of the Union like he gave Nicki Minaj that fake gold card. Ever since y'all got ignored for the State of the Union, y'all been ducking me. Huh? Go ahead. Go ahead and handle that. Latinos in Miami really think they're going to get into Yahtzee heaven. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I'm Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week, where we expose the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination and hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can drop them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Now, there I was enjoying Jesse Jackson's spiritual homecoming.
Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson inspires us to take a harder path. His voice calls on each of us to be heralds of change, to be messengers of hope, to step forward and say, send me.
Take your time. Take your time, Pastor. Man, you see all them presidents?
I also like to honor the 5 presidents who are sitting here today. President Harris, President Clinton, President Bill Clinton, First Lady Jill Biden, President Biden, and Chicago's own South Side, President Barack Obama.
Okay, Isaiah. Hey, that was I wasn't familiar with your game, Isaiah Thomas. I was not familiar with your game. I remember the Larry Bird thing back in the day, but okay. You know what? You were chosen this time. You were chosen.
Criteria to be selected, but I wasn't.
Those of you who are wondering why we have been here this long, the service wouldn't have been this long if we were able to go to the Capitol, but the Capitol is now only reserved for and podcasters. We're in a critical moment in history. A critical moment in history where it is that we have to figure out what are we fighting for.
Jamal Bryant. Okay. Oh, hey, here's one more bomb for you, Pastor. Torpedoes must be the only pedos the U.S. government are willing to fire. I'd be surprised if they didn't try and bring them back. Try and see, put them in the shield of America. Oh, by the way, while we're on the topic, let's also remember others that we've lost.
It's the racist of the week. Yeah, you know the routine. Reese breaking it down. So the message is seen. Smart jokes, quick clips, making history speak. Holding up the mirror. Racist of the week.
I'm honestly surprised the people of Chicago were even willing to pay for flowers for Kristi Noem, if we're being honest, but that's the level of the disdain. Well, it was from there that I saw this. Yahtzee Heaven inside Miami campus Republicans' racist group chat. The secretary of Miami-Dade County's Republican Party started a group that was primarily for conservative students last fall, and within 3 weeks was filled with racist slurs. Someone wrote dozens of ways to violently unalive Black people, and the chat was renamed after what one member described as Yahtzee Heaven. In WhatsApp conversations leaked to the Miami Herald, participants used variations of ends more than 400 times, regularly described women as whores, used slurs to talk about Jewish and gay people, and mused about Hitler's policies. Well, time to change the sign. Days without Republican Yahtzee scandals. I don't know if we'll ever hit double digits again. But the craziest thing is, this didn't make news like some of those others now, did it? Weird that this is now the second or third major story about campus GOPs being full out Yahtzees, yet we're not seeing even a fraction of the energy from the ADL and co. about this than they had for some kids in tents who didn't like that their universities were funding war crimes. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating? Huh. The more you know. It really is the more you know. And why don't we put a face to all of this, shall we? Abel Alexander Carvajal, secretary. Wait. Zoom in on that. This guy? Come on now, bruh. Come on, man. This gonna turn into one of those Black-Brown Coalition meetings, isn't it? Get Zoe Zaldana, Rosario Dawson, Coleman Domingo, Carmelo Anthony, and Soledad O'Brien. Matter of fact, get David Ortiz, too. You say Sammy Sosa? Get the old one. Get the old one. Don't get the new one. Abel Carvajal is the secretary for Miami-Dade Republican Party. He was just exposed for running a group chat that used ends over 200 times and called for the extermination of Black people. Other members include Dario Gonzalez and Ian Valdez. Gonzalez, Valdez. Yeah, I mean, he is literally the meme. MAGA Latinos be like, I don't know how many go back to your countries, speak English they need to hear. Like, who's a white supremacist? Now, which one of you ass-kissing cucks are actually white? That might be the meme of the millennium right there. That might be the meme of the millennium. I'm going to save that one whenever somebody asks questions about this era of our history. That's it. Interspersed throughout were discussions about events promoting the Republican Party at Florida International University. The school told the Herald the chat logs are part of an ongoing criminal investigation. The conversations included some of the campus's top conservative leaders, the county GOP secretary, FIU's Turning Point USA chapter president, and the former college Republicans recruitment chair. The group chat, verified by two people in the group, reveals the extent of racism and extremism within the highest ranks of campus Republican Party leadership in Miami at a time Florida's Republicans are reckoning with an increasingly emboldened far right. Another member of the chat, William Bejarano, who tried to start a pro-life group at Miami-Dade College, was the primary user of ends. At one point, he posted a block of text calling for dozens of acts of extreme violence against Black people, who he referred to using ends, including crucifying, beheading, and dissecting. Bejarano hung up the phone when reached by the Herald. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, you had the boldness to write all of this. You know what I mean? Like, the least you could do is take a phone call. You want to type out all of this, but you can't take a phone call? Huh.
All right, so I just wanted to make a little bit of commentary right in there with that, whole situation, because honestly, we are seeing this continuously happening in a lot of different places based amongst different groups and races of people, right? So it's like 1 minute people got that energy to be just somewhere on a Twitter or on a private chat. These are my dogs barking, so just saying these terrible racist things, nasty pieces of work they always say. But then when they're asked to double down on it, and come out, make a statement, come out, talk about it. No, now they're scared because I guess they wanted to do it behind closed doors. But what I think that people are starting to see now is that the internet is forever. And so once you start engaging on the internet, you start posting stuff, you start saying things and really showing your true colors, at some point that stuff can get dig back up. And people will see exactly how you felt, what you said, when you said it, how you said it, and they can hold you to that. But when it's time now to say that with that same energy to people's face or publicly, now there's a fearfulness, like you can't do it. You don't want to do it because it's absolutely unacceptable. And you also know that you may not know what's waiting for you on the other side of the person you may be saying that directly to, depending if you got the gall to do it or not. So you see, it's still a lot of, fearfulness when it comes to some of these hateful people. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But the ones that are fearful, it's like, hee ha ha behind closed doors, smile in your face, talk trash about you, call you the N-word behind your back. All of these things been going on. We've been trying to tell people. We've been trying to tell y'all this is what's going on. And then another thing that is very impertinent about this conversation and how a lot of these people are moving and shaking is that you are also an individual that you can get together with this said individual and talk about another group of people, right? So a Spanish person might get together with, maybe a Caucasian person, and you're talking about a Black person. Nasty word, dragging on, very racist, right? But what you don't understand is there's that Caucasian group of people that get together with their other friends and they talk about you when you're not around, when you're not at the table, when you're not on the phone call. And so that's what I'm saying when it's just like this cognitive dissonance that people seem to have, that desire to be a racist, when you don't even understand, like, they really don't like you either. You know what I mean? Like, they will talk about you just as bad behind your back when you're not around. And I think this is what we've been trying to get y'all to see. This is what a lot of these conversations are built around, trying to make y'all understand that. But it's all hee ha ha and fun and games when the laughing and the nasty work is not at your expense. If it can be at somebody else's expense or another race's expense, then that's fine. It's okay. You're willing to participate. Until you find out, you wonder, right? What are they saying about you when you're not in the room? What are they saying about you when you're not around? People are starting to see that, and some of them are not. But we trying to tell you, same people that sit there next to you and laugh and joke with you at another race's expense, probably the same person is going to be dragging you and talking about you behind your back, most likely. So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
That's so MAGA. That is definitely so MAGA. Help me with this part though. Help me with this part, because I could maybe trying to understand the human condition, right? Because we've discussed this topic often when it comes to Latinos for Trump. I could see the anti-immigrant rhetoric when it comes to trying to pick me to the top, or I had to go through it, they have to go through it too. We've crossed that bridge. Where does the aggression towards Black people come from, though? You know what I mean? Like, where was brother stealing all the ladies on campus? Like, I don't understand. They came into the merengue party and it was a sausage fest when they left. Y'all can't go out when the Miami Heat in town. Where does the smoke? Like, you have to go out of your way to just make it make sense. Now let's look at the gentleman in question. Let's see. A returning student, wasn't prepared for a lesson in free speech, excited to restart my education. Man, he didn't even look at the camera when he's taking his little profile photo. He definitely is a keyboard warrior. That explains, all of this was probably pre-written. All of it, because he looked like he had a lot of time to spend on this. He had a lot of time to spend creatively on this. That was definitely pre-written. A lot of Friday and Saturday nights in the house putting that together for the group chat. I'm gonna kill him on the group chat. Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Well, this is exactly what I mean when I say that Black people live rent-free in people's brains, because this is insane. So the Secretary of Miami-Dade County's GOP started a group chat for conservative students. Within just 3 weeks, it was filled with the N-word, Nazi rhetoric, and dozen ways of how to violently kill people who look like me. Crazy enough, the secretary started this, and his name is Abel Alexander Carvajal, and he's a second-year law student at Florida International University. He started this after Charlie Kirk's death, and which Black people had nothing to do with, by the way, but he started it, and Black people starting to get a bunch of hate in these group chats. And not just that, other people who were involved were Ian Valdez, for example. He's the president of FIU's chapter of Turning Point USA. He was also saying a bunch of disgusting and disturbing things. And this is what I mean when I say that we live rent free. We can literally not be involved with something and somehow we're inserted. And not just that, this just further proves my point that just because people are people of color, it does not mean that they are aligned with us or relate to us, because these people are on the opposite side. They are more aligned with whiteness and white supremacy than they are with trying to come together. And these are brown people. These were mostly brown people talking about people who look like me, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, that's what happened. We live rent free.
Dario Gonzalez, the college Republicans recruitment chairman at the time, responded in the chat, "How edgy. Ew, you had colored professors," Gonzalez wrote at another point. "I refuse to be indoctrinated by the coloreds." He told the group he used the term colored because I was told we can't say black anymore. A couple days later, he added, "Avoid the coloreds like the plague." He did not respond to a request for comment. Didn't you want a platform? Didn't you? It's so weird they're not responding to a request for comment. You know what I mean? Like, these are people that are trying to be thought leaders. They're exchanging ideology, but now when offered a larger platform, they have no comment. It's wow. So it really was just a circle jerk. Like it really, y'all just really wasn't about nothing. And it's also interesting that you feel the need to talk about avoiding coloreds like the plague in the midst of a group chat in which none were in place. I don't really see the reasoning for that. I mean, you might as well have said avoiding women. Like it wasn't needed. I don't understand the point of that. Oh, and yes, I see you over there, Pastor Sewell. Yes, since there was no black people in the chat, I know you don't think it can be racist. The group chat members, which included some women, also frequently discussed sex, sometimes describing women as whores, and at one point using the K word, a slur for Jewish people, to describe women they avoid. It was women in the chat while they were talking like that. They not gonna go far. They not. These boys. They not going. But who snitched? It wasn't us. I can tell you that right now. Gonzalez said, "You can F all the K you want, just don't marry them and procreate." Ian Valdez, the Turning Point USA chapter president, responded, "I would definitely not marry a Jew." A few minutes later, Valdez changed the group chat's name from one that included a slur for people with disabilities, Uber R yapping, to gooning and agartha. Gooning is a slang for exactly what this group chat was doing. Agartha, a mythical white civilization promoted by the Yahtzee politician Heinrich Himmler, has been repopularized by the young online right. Gonzalez described Agartha to the group chat as a Yahtzee heaven, sort of esoteric Yahtzeeism, essentially. At least you know. at least you're, hey, Black MAGA, enjoy. Yeah, enjoy. No, because y'all been hiding ever since I called y'all to discuss the State of the Union. When y'all he gave y'all the fake tickets. He gave y'all the fake tickets for the State of the Union, like he gave Nicki Minaj that fake gold card. Ever since y'all got ignored for the State of the Union, y'all been ducking me. Huh? Go ahead. Go ahead and handle that. Latinos in Miami really think they're going to get into Yahtzee heaven. This is one of those situations where you let them try. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even going to stand in your way, dog. You got it. No, just make sure you take down everything that happens, just for posterity's sake. Because I go do comedy, so I want beat for beat what happened when you got there.
So a new GOP group chat was recently leaked out. A bunch of Latin GOP members, and they were saying, derogatory things such as, we need to behead N-words, cut up N-words. We need to get rid of them. We need to send them to the sun. Also, a couple of anti-Semitic things as well. And it's showing a pattern, a very obvious pattern of the GOP is very welcoming to alt-right white supremacist voices and white supremacist ideology. And another thing that also needs to be mentioned is that you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist. All those men were probably, or all those people in that group chat identified as probably Hispanic, Latino, Latin. And some of the pictures that have been released online, they're brown. They're about as brown as me. Sometimes, you know.
Okay, y'all. So quick story time. So I noticed this at a very younger age in life. I won't say young, but working age, right? So my first job that I had, I started working, I was 16. And I worked at, the first one, of course, we all maybe perhaps work at fast food. So I worked at Burger King. And then after I left Burger King, I started working at retail. I worked at Roy's. And so after I was there on these jobs for a while, they tried to get me to advance and stuff like that. So a lot of times people would, no, it's cold, you can't go out there. People would come in and they would apply for positions. And so based off of the position that I held, I was the one that would retrieve the applications and review over the applications and stuff like that. Yes, baby, I'll get you some oranges. Hold on. I would review over the applications and stuff like that. And then pass the ones up to the manager that I'm like, okay, this one look like a good one, but boop, the resume attached, all the things like that. So one of the things that I always used to notice, right, when I would be doing this is that there would sometimes be Hispanic or Latina individuals that would submit application. And, when they come in, a lot of time they drop it off in person. Sometimes you got to scan and take a copy of their ID to go with their application and all this stuff. And so they would come in. So I'm clearly looking at them. And I'm like, okay, this, it's a Hispanic person, whatever. I don't, I'm not judging or anything. I'm just saying I can see that you are Hispanic. Like you're some form of Spanish. And I know it's different variations, just like it's different variations with us. But, different variations of Hispanic people will come in with these applications and IDs. Now, the thing that was interesting to me is when I would look at the application, they would have circled or listed on the application that they were Caucasian. And I said, that's very interesting. Now they have on there where it says like, because for me, when I used to apply and use, circle or whatever on the application, it asks you like, are you, what race you are. It's got a limited amount. Now I think it's a little bit more in details more, but it would say, are you not Hispanic or Latino, or are you Hispanic or Latino? When I used to look at their applications, it said nothing about Hispanic or Latino. It would be circled and selected Caucasian. I was like, that's interesting, because I wouldn't assume that would be your choice, your go-to choice, right? Like if you're Hispanic or you're Latina or Latino, then you would put that, right? Like on your job application. There's other applications where they ask about your ethnicity and your race as well, like on a lot of different things, like if you're applying for certain assistances and things like that. But when I would look at these job applications, I seen that they would put on their Caucasian. And so there was no process or no system or anything like that in place to like check you, you know what I'm saying? Or like prove that wrong or anything like that. I think most people would just probably look and be like, that's interesting. But it's like they didn't really care. You know what I'm saying? Like they still can submit their application. They still can get the job. It doesn't matter. Like, and it depends on the certain jobs and stuff as well. We talking about like fast food, retail, stuff like that. So I was just like, that's interesting. Like the fact that you want to do that is interesting. And then also what was interesting to me is the fact that you can do that, right? Because you think about somebody like me, right? And yeah, okay, whatever. I might be a little bit light-skinned, but y'all know that I'm black. You could tell that I'm black when you see me. There's not one time that we can circle that and go in there and it makes sense, right? Like it for some, and let's be clear, for some Latinos and Latinas, they could possibly circle that. And if the roots and the heritage and all this stuff is not traced or checked, a lot of people wouldn't know that they're Hispanic, you know what I'm saying, or Latino or Latina, because there are some Hispanics that do more so favor a little bit on the lighter hue and kind of could look like they're actually just like, Caucasian European or whatever. But for a black person, there's no way that you can circle that. And I do think that it would be more issue, right? to if we even decided to go in there and circle that on the application and submit it in person where the people can actually see what we look like and know what we look like and think that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think they would call that out. Like, excuse me, I just wanted to see if this is an error, but you circled Caucasian. Did you do this in error? I feel like we would be asked that if we did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I seen those type of things that was happening, and I was young at the time, so I didn't know all what it meant or why that was happening. And so now as I sit back and I think about it, I'm like, yo, this is one thing that I realized to be true over, you know, these 34 years of life that I've been here so far, that there are a lot of people and individuals, even some Black people included, that are very fair skinned. They like to be in closer proximity to whiteness and Caucasian people. And if there's any way that they can fit in with that group or passes that group, I guess, yes, we know that the outcomes will probably be different if that is the scenario, right? Like, you'll have a better chance to get the job. You might get a higher position. You might get better pay, or whatever it is that you're trying to get a better experience of in life. If you are in a closer proximity to being white or, you know, Caucasian or whatever, then it's better for you. It's more beneficial for you. And so a lot of people, I think this is where a lot of this is coming from. I'm getting to my point, y'all, I promise. But this is where I think a lot of this is coming from. I think a lot of these individuals like to be in close proximity still to this day to whiteness and Caucasian race due to the benefit or whatever. However, they feel like it makes them look better. You know what I'm saying? They can get better opportunity, whatever it is. And so they attach themselves to that, you know, like even down to where like the neighborhoods that they might move into, the schools that they send their kids to, how they talk, how they dress, how they operate, you know, if it can be in closer proximity to that, I think they feel like that is the better proximity to be in. That is the better level to be at, right? And so this is why I think, in my personal opinion, that some of these people, you know, be doing this. Oh, girl, she said, shucking and jiving and doing the thing. But anyway, I got that from Tisa Tell, so I ain't stealing her stuff, y'all. Tisa be saying it, but she be cracking me up when she do that little jingle. But yeah, shucking and jiving and doing the thing for sure. You know what I mean? And I think that we do still see a lot of that happening, right? Like in all places and spaces. We talking about now, this is the political sector. These supposed to be the upcoming lawyers and GOPs. These are the individuals that when you go to jail, they get to, or you get arrested, they are the ones making the decision as to how much time you get, what prison you may go to, if it's a misdemeanor or if it's a, you know, felony. They're making those decisions. So if they already are showing on the back end that they don't like you and they see you still as less than, because we remember, if we continue to remind ourselves what that word with that hard R means and what it was put in place for, it was to dehumanize, I always say that word wrong. Dehumanize, child. Don't let y'all know what I'm saying. Black people, right? To make Black people feel as though they're not even of the human race. They're something less than, right? So these are individuals that use that type of phrase just willy-nilly, freely, laugh about it, think it's comfortable and okay to do. They see you as less than. They continue to see you as less than human. And if you are someone who is now, you in, you know what I'm saying, a pinch or something like that, and they have to have a judgment or a ruling or be your lawyer or be, you know what I'm saying, all of these things over the fatality of your life in the legal system, what do you think they really going to, do you really think they're going to care? Do you really think they're going to care about you? That they're going to give you the best possible outcome that you could possibly have? That they're going to look at you and see the fair ruling of it all? Maybe you're innocent. Maybe you then got caught up for a crime that you did not commit and you're innocent. Do you think they're going to go out of their way to care that you're innocent and you didn't do it? You think they're going to dig deep and find all the evidence and the proof and the realistic facts to prove that you're innocent? Or you think they're just going to slide you by and be like, oh yeah, you black, he did it. Yeah, she black, she did it. Because they don't like you no way. They see you as less than anyway. Especially if in 2026 they still using that word, knowing what that word represent and why it was put in place as a label over Black people and Black bodies. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, that's a dangerous situation. It's something that we should take very serious when we have individuals like this that could be in these positions and places and spaces that actually have a high impact on the outcome of our lives as Black people, brown people. But guess what? There's Hispanic people that are more beautiful cocoa brown than I am, and a darker shade of cocoa brown than I am, right? And they're not Black. They're Hispanic. And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Because I've had a conversation about this with some Hispanic people. And even when it comes to Black people, look how we got our whole system of colorism. Colorism is everywhere in every race, right? So even within the Latino, Latina, Hispanic community, they even sometimes don't like each other. Sometimes it's just this. I can't be sure why, and I won't speak on it because I'm not Latino, so I can't speak on that. But I know that, I mean, I've had conversations with someone who isn't, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But in the Black community, we see that. We see how we try to do each other, right? When it comes to shade, or skin tone and stuff like that. That's where all that, you know, like I said, the colorism starts to come into play and all of those things. So, you know, but that was just an interesting story that I wanted to tell y'all, that I used to see a lot of Hispanic people come in and they would put in job applications and they would circle Caucasian. They would not circle Hispanic, Latino, or Latina. They didn't circle it. They circled Caucasian. And the thing about it is, a lot of them that came in, if you look at them sometimes, you probably wouldn't even know. You probably would think that that's true. And I think that the ones that are able to pass that way, I think they go to the utmost lengths to do it, right? And especially when they in jobs and positions and stuff such as politics and government, things of that nature, they want their best possible chance. They want the best possible, you know, outcome, pay grade, power, whatever. And so they feel like the best thing to do is to be in close proximity to white or Caucasian people. And that's where I think a lot of this comes from. It's a deep rooted hate from that, right? Because anything other than, you know what I'm saying, Black is better. So, you know, you can still be a Hispanic, but you can kind of maybe be in closer proximity to whiteness because you don't look Black. You may be really lighter hued or something like that as a Hispanic. You won't rep or, you know what I'm saying, like rock with your Latino, Latina, Hispanic heritage and background, because especially in this country too, in the United States, right? Because getting further in this country is your closest proximity to whiteness. And it's been like that and it continues to be like that. And you say also because of racism and discrimination sometimes. That's true, right? And that's the thing, like I hate that. I hate that for all of us that have to experience it, you know, that, you know, we can be not given the opportunity to get the job, even though we're the best qualified. Because of what our race is and what we look like, we ain't gonna get it, you know. Sometimes you try to slide through if you can. I ain't got no problem with that. I understand that a lot of these things that have been put in place do push us to make these decisions that we make, you know. But at some point, we got to bring the pride back, the pride as to who we are, where we come from, our uniqueness. We still have to be able to stand 10 toes down and knowing, yeah, I'm Black, but guess what? I do this job better than anybody up in here. I promise you that. I promise you that. And a lot of times when workplaces, show me or tell me if y'all have ever experienced that you proved that to be true to these people. To where you call out one day, the whole operation shut down without you. That proves you got the juice. You know what I'm saying? Like you bring something to the mix at the table. And it don't matter if you're Black, you're Spanish, you're Asian, whatever. If we can just get back to those foundational principles and prides, you know, I just feel like it would do us a lot of good. But a lot of time we've allowed the society and the world to make us not be proud of who we are and what we bring to the table, or make us even feel confident in ourselves because of our race and what we look like. And that's not right. But I understand everybody saying, I want a fair chance. So look, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the position because I need it and I want it and I deserve it. I get that. That's like a societal like kind of mindset shift of like things that is almost they push you into being able to have to do to get the better outcome. But then there is also, I think, this other side where it's not just you doing that because you know like this will be my best possible chance for this opportunity, but you also, you either don't really like who you are, you really actually don't like who other people are, you really don't like them. There's a prejudice of some kind or some shape or form that really is in you. You really feel that way, like 10 toes down. So there's the hate and the prejudice of it all that I think there's some, not all, but some move with and operate with. And then I think there's some that's just like, look, I'm just trying to get my foot through the door. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there's a difference, and I know that there's those hoops and stuff that they make us feel like we have to jump through. So anyway, y'all, that was just a little story time. Let's keep going. Come on, Reese.
A little darker. And it's just a reminder, you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist, man. All you have to do is support white supremacist ideology. Though in that group chat, they were talking about some ancient white holy land that Heinrich Himmler, yeah, that guy, was talking about, and they were speeching his ideology. Again, you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist. You just have to support and, align with the ideology of what it preaches. And yeah, I mean, am I surprised? No, I'm really not. We know what the GOP is. The GOP has a long-standing record of being with alt-right voices. So, and to other members of the other communities who, like to preach solidarity, check your friends to see how do they feel. I always like to gauge, other, POC. How do you feel about Black people? Because that generally will tell me everything I need to know about you. How do you feel about Black people? How do you feel about Black Americans? How do you feel about Black Caribbeans? How do you feel about the Black people that live in your country, that live in your land? If you're Mexican, I need to know, how do you feel about the darker skinned Mexicans that live there, the Afro Mexicans? If you're Venezuelan, I need to know how you feel about that.
See what I'm saying? And like I said, this is a whole conversation for a whole nother day. And I much rather not have it by myself because it's not my lived experience. But I've had this conversation and I've come back with some really interesting things that I didn't know when it comes to other groups of people. It was the same way. But, we are starting to find out, even when we're talking about like the Asian community, right? There's also that happens there as well. Like our own people, like us and our own group of people, we hate each other first. So it's real easy to hate another. If you hate each other, child, I should put that on a merch. But anyway, that's how I've been seeing things playing out, and I've been hearing people admit to the fact that this is something that they have seen and bear witness to their entire lives. They don't understand why. It makes no sense to them, but it's just something that was considered to be a norm. Like there's segregation even within our own communities, you know what I mean, within our own race. I can't make it make sense, y'all. I don't know. But what I would like to know, when does it stop? When does it end? And what has it done for us? Where is it getting us by moving and operating and thinking and treating each other that way? Like, does that really benefit you in any type of major way or not? Because you could hate him right here, right? Because he may be a Hispanic, but he not the same Hispanic as you. But guess what? Y'all both gunning for the same job. And if Billy Bob Thornton come along, neither one of y'all getting a job. Billy Bob Thornton gonna get it. So what's the point of y'all hating each other if you still won't be on the same level at some point in time anyway? Instead of working together as a group, as a unit, united front, you might can get some things accomplished and get some things done and achieve some things. But instead, we too busy fighting against each other. Instead of putting our brains together and our willpower together to actually achieve something and go a little bit further, you know what I'm saying, and get over these hurdles and these obstacles that they got out here for us. If we work together as a unit in a group, we'd probably get there quicker than throwing each other under the bus thinking that they're going to choose us anyway. As soon as a better option comes, we all being thrown by the wayside. So why why don't we start to understand that? Like, when do we get to the point where we understand that? All right, let's keep going.
Afro-Venezuelans. If you're Argentinian, how do you feel about the black people that live there? Side note, if you know the history of, what happened to them there. So yeah, I'm not surprised. GOP, longstanding record of white supremacist ideology. You don't have to be white to be a white supremacist. Again, you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist. You do not have to be white to be a white supremacist.
This is not something you would know about unless you had spent a considerable amount of time in white supremacist circles, said Heidi Barrick, who researches extremism and co-founded the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism. It was something Himmler was obsessed about, and it's basically a mythical white homeland in the center of the earth. If you're using the term Agartha, you have spent some time reading about white supremacy and Yahtzees. There's just no way around it. You're embedded in the culture. Frequently, chat members discuss Republican politics and race. Did she say it was in the center of the earth? She said it was in the center of the earth. I would like to restate my challenge to them. Y'all go ahead. Please, leave today. I have a bus ticket. I got it for you. Valdez wrote at one point, we need to have a moratorium on immigration temporarily unless it's someone from a first world country.
What do you mean by that?
He then clarified, I obviously mean whites. I'm gonna need the Latinos to come forward. I'm gonna need y'all to come forward. Not just the Latinos for Trump, but the full coalition. Are y'all ready to deal with this? Huh? Are y'all ready to deal with this?
Are y'all ready, kids?
No, because I'm not gonna sit here and advocate for basic respect and human dignity due all people and an opportunity to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If y'all not going to address, it's right there. Conversations need to happen at home. They need to happen at home. And unless y'all are willing to deal with it,
This is egregious work. This is nasty, egregious work.
Throughout the 2.5 weeks of chat logs between September and October obtained by the Herald, the secretary of the county's Republican Party, Abel Carvajal, participated occasionally and deleted some messages, but didn't shut the chat down. The messages among the party's top campus leaders last fall revealed the extent to which the party is splintered by its extremist online right and concerned about their growing political power in Florida. Oh, but they not racist though, right? Oh, but they not. Oh, that's a problem. They say all Republicans are racist. Deal with your racist then. How about that? How about you deal with your racist then? Oh, I'm not racist. I just push ideologies that all racists support. We just think a lot about big picture items. We just think a lot about big picture items. So we kind of converge. Is that what it is? It's just a kind of mutual admiration society with the racists, but I'm not officially, I don't go to meetings or nothing like that. I stream them from home. And that's it. That's it. MAGA. Enjoy.
So another Young Republicans group chat was leaked recently, this time in Miami-Dade County. And this consists of some of the top young Republican leaders. You have the GOP secretary for the county of Miami-Dade in this group chat. You have Turning Point USA's president for the FIU chapter within this group chat. And within this group chat, the N-word is mentioned over 200 times. It got so bad, it got to the point where the GOP secretary started referring to black people as coloreds instead of black. William Bergeno, to be exact, actually called for extreme violence against Black people, against Black individuals in this group chat. He called for our crucifixion. He called for our beheading, the dissecting of Black people. He called for our heads to be twisted off, the brutalization of our Black women. And they have the audacity to say they're not racist.
Now, let's also address what actually might be the most disturbing part about all of this, because we can't legislate out racism, or we would have done it a long time ago. There's going to be this element in our society. That's not the point. The point is the positions that they hold. The positions that they hold. I hate it here. These are people that will go on to attain the ability to actually affect Black people's lives. And when that happens and we point to it, people tell us that we're seeing things and that we're crazy because they refuse to acknowledge the racism. These are law students, by the way, the future lawyers, prosecutors, judges, and policymakers. When we talk about systemic racism, this is what we mean. It is embedded in the institutions themselves, and it's hard to believe people who openly think this way will suddenly become fair advocates for Black clients once they enter the legal system.
So a group of incels, losers, bigots over at the Miami-Dade Republican Party has just been exposed for having a group chat pushing anti-Semitism, saying things like that right there, bunch of racial slurs, just everything you can possibly imagine, right? Not only that, but the secretary of the Miami-Dade Republican Party, so a high-ranking party member, Abel Alexander Carvajal, ran a group chat in which the N-word was used over 200 times, and members celebrated the removal of an African-American activist from the FIU College Republicans. The name of the chat is there. And even more concerning are the chat's members. Listen to this, right? We already talked about the secretary of the Miami-Dade Republican Party, right? Then we have Dariel Gonzalez, who is the FIU College Republicans membership director. And finally, Ian Valdez, the FIU Turning Point chapter president. Charlie Kirk's legacy, right? Now, the chat goes beyond racist language. Sources have confirmed that Carvajal has recruited members of this racist and anti-Semitic element into the Miami-Dade GOP to serve as committee men and committee women. Guys, these are the people that later on here in Dade County go on to be mayors of certain cities within the county, city commissioners, county commissioners, influential people that make decisions over our lives here in Miami-Dade County. These are the people that do that. One portion of the chat references a Black student named Sandra, whose real name has been changed to protect her identity. She left the FIU College Republicans after being subjected to racial slurs. What happened to her? Asked one participant. William called her an N-word with the hard R, so she left, responds Dariel Gonzalez. And what they say in that chat gets worse, especially towards Black people, bro. The disgusting things they say, the gravity of that. Being one of the main parties, one of the main political parties in a county with hundreds of thousands of Black people is insane. I really urge you guys to go read this. I'm not going to go put it here in the video, but please do it. It's crazy. In early October, Ian Valdez, the legacy of Charlie Kirk, renamed the chat Gooning in Argatha. Argatha is a mythical civilization that Nazi General Heinrich Himmler and other Nazis believed was the hidden homeland of an Aryan race. The more you read this story, the worse and worse it gets. And once again, remember, these Republicans, these Latino, MAGA, extremist, neo-Nazi, white supremacist people are the ones that end up running for office here in Miami-Dade County. And not only running for office, but winning and becoming leaders in the community. And of course, all of them are Latinos. Not white people, Latinos with very Latino names. Incredible that they think that white supremacists would be, embracing of their presence in this country whatsoever.
Leading Republican gubernatorial candidate Byron Donalds, who is Black, denounced what he called the woke right during a speech in Miami last fall, a phenomenon he said had risen in the wake of the killing of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Donald seemed to be using the term as a stand-in for the far right, describing it as those that oppose all immigration and espouse soft bigotry on social media. No one No one, because first of all, ain't nothing soft about that bigotry. And second of all, he wants to claim it rose up after just in the last, it just in the last 6 months. It just, you know what I mean? That racism popped out of nowhere. I don't know where that racism. Hey, check your mentions. Check your mentions. Yeah, you got to scroll past Charlie Kirk. Yeah, just. You got to keep scrolling. I know thumbs be fat. You got to keep scrolling. No, because you got ends in there from where. Yeah. Just because you don't have the patience to scroll to see it, don't mean it's not there, Byron Donalds. It's been there. Nice try. Just like the try with I drop woke in it, and maybe they'll still like me over there. His opponent, James Fishback, a relative political unknown who has used racist and white nationalist rhetoric throughout his campaign, is highlighting the generational divide around extremism on the right in Florida. One University of North Florida poll found that while only 6% of likely GOP primary voters supported Fishback, he had the support of 32% of 18 to 34-year-olds, 4 times what Byron Donalds got among that age group. Yes. You guys are pretty well acquainted with James Fishback at this point.
Byron Donalds is a tether. He is not an American descendant.
Wait a minute, James. How do you know the term tether?
He is a tether. He is not an American descendant of slaves. So when Byron Donalds cries like he has over the last couple of weeks because I call him a slave to AIPAC, a slave to corporate interest, a slave to the pro-immigration lobby that has hurt every race of Americans, but has also hurt Black Americans who disproportionately work in food, hospitality, leisure, and customer service. He is in no position, has no right to be complaining about me calling him a slave when he has absolutely no direct descendant of slavery in his family.
Valdez previously described himself as a campaign employee on Fishback's Miami team on Instagram. He has since removed that title. He did not.
All right, y'all. So basically, I'm telling you, for real, some of these people, they have no shame. So, okay, we understand there's a lot of issue when it comes to Byron Donalds. We get that, okay? Bruh, man, his head or whatnot, his mental, something ain't right there. There's something ain't clicking when it comes to, him really fully understanding the importance of the fact that, bro, man, you do understand that you're Black, right? So you need to speak that way and act that way and carry yourself accordingly. However, this man sits up here to make an excuse because knowing that this is a corrupt Black man, his mind is corrupt, and he's not on the right side of rationality when it comes to, this race stuff. That actually gives you the excuse to call him a slave, and then tell him that he should not feel no type of way that you call him a slave because of what? That he has no ties to ancestors that have actually been slaves. And there is no proof that any of his ancestors, nor was he a slave. So me calling you a slave should not offend you in any type of way. That's basically his rationale and what he's basically trying to say. Now, there's some people that may agree with that, and some people that may not agree with that. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But my whole thing is when you're saying things like that, knowing the severity of the situation, the history of the situation, and what that can represent and mean to certain races of people, if you really cared and did not have a hate or disdain in your heart for a certain group of race of person, you would just never come out of your mouth and say nothing like that, ever. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't get to just take these little racist jabs and jives at people and then try to talk your way out of it because you see that this is it. But this is the problem that we have, right? When we have individuals within our community that are lost in the sauce, that are weak-minded, that are, Uncle Toms and tap dancers and shucking and jiving, it opens up the door and the gate for individuals like that to come in and play all up in your face because you're not standing 10 toes down in strength and reality about who you are and being proud of that. You allowing people to toy all the way around with you, and they seen you shucking and jiving for so long, they feel like, oh, it's not going to bother this person. They're not going to care because they don't even love themselves or their own people. So we can say and treat them however we want to. You see how that works, y'all? Y'all see that caveat? So it's like, you know, this is the importance when it comes to us standing up and being proud of who we are as a people, and always standing 10 toes down when it comes to that, regardless the stakes. Because when you stop doing it, it allows them to think that you are a walking mat that they can walk all over, be disrespectful to, and use as a clown, basically, a jester. And when you do that, other strong-minded, proud individuals in your race are looking at you like, how dare you allow them to talk to you like that? How dare you allow them to treat you like that? And how dare you want to be in places and spaces with individuals that talk to you and treat you like that? And really, at the end of the day, and be, you know, in their back of their mind, really see you like that. Really. But you up here tap dancing and shucking and jiving for these people, right? Because of the close proximity you want to what they have, who they are, what they can do, that you sell your own people out to do so. And this is how the guard gets let down. This is how these type of individuals infiltrate, and they get away with the things that they get away with when it comes to racism and prejudice and disrespect towards our race and any other race that feel disrespected may adapt these same talking points as well. But right now I'm talking about the Black race, Black people. No matter where we are in this great, big, beautiful globe, we are Black, period. And I know that there's some of us out here, Blacks and stuff, or Caribbeans, they don't like Black Americans, child. That we got to deal with our own stuff accordingly within our own people and our own community. And we will. I believe we're going to get to a point where we focus on that. But we don't need no other outside help. We'll deal with it ourselves. It's a conversation for us to have. We don't need you to infiltrate and be the middle person to help us get this together, because you really don't care, to be quite honest. Not all, but some. So you see what I'm saying, how that works? That's exactly how it works. You cannot keep letting these gates down and these guards down and let these people infiltrate and think that they can talk to you and treat you any type of way. And then you sitting there looking like a fool because they'll hee and ha and sip a Chardonnay or a whiskey with you at the bar. And then they go home and they talk trash about you behind your back when you're not present. And you could tell the ones that do that because they're nasty word. And you think because, oh, they're nice to me, but they so nasty and talk terrible about all the other Black people, but this is a good person. No. Somebody who's really a good person and don't feel that way, they will not talk about no Black people like that. But they feel as though they can get away with that in front of your face because they know that you're somebody who's not going to say anything or do anything about it. And for you to have in your mind that, oh, this person likes Black people, this person is cool. No, you sit there at the lunch table with these people while they drag your people for filth. You sit there at the conference table with these people while they drag your people for filth, where they sit there and they talk about Black women. Your mother Black. You gonna let somebody sit up there and talk down about a Black woman and you came from a Black woman? You gonna sit there and let somebody talk down about a Black man when the seed that created you came from a Black man? Because you shucking and jiving and doing the thing. Tisa. But anyway, y'all, let me keep playing this. We're almost done with this live. It's just about over, y'all. I know it's running a little long. All right, so Imani said, Byron Donald said Jim Crow helped to keep Black families together. Oh, my God. Let's keep going, y'all. I cannot.
Respond to texts or phone calls from the Herald. Hey, Byron, remember when you complained about James Fishback? Remember you? Yeah, you remember that? This not going to get no better until you address it. Byron Donalds condemns racist and Semitic Miami GOP group chat. In response to the Floridians' request for comment, Rep. Donalds told publisher Javier Manjarrez that the comments reported run counter to the values of the Republican Party and that the Republican Party rejects racism, anti-Semitism, and bigotry. Wait a minute. Point me to the Democratic group chat. Y'all running up numbers. Y'all putting up Kobe numbers when it comes to the number of GOP. But it doesn't. It runs counter to what now? The values. I can't help you, Byron. I honestly, I can't help. No, because you come looking for some kind of defense, but you don't listen. Let them help you. Yeah, Abel Carbajal. Matter of fact, the other dude, what's the other dude's name with the car? He'll come pick you up. William. Yeah, go to William. William will come pick you up. Meet him in the parking lot of the Cracker Barrel. Everyone has the First Amendment right to say what they want, even when it's vile and offensive, but free speech doesn't entitle someone to hold a leadership position within the Republican Party or the conservative movement. The comments reported run counter to the values our party stands for. Nah, they disagree. They definitely disagree. You know who also disagrees? Your boss. He also disagrees. We've had avowed white supremacists with high up positions within the administration. So,
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. I know I'm moving towards the 3-hour mark. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. If y'all want to finish the rest of this live, it's not that long left, honestly. It's only about another 7 minutes. So y'all let me know if y'all want to hear it to the end, if you want me to stop it here. I did have a few talking points that I wanted to just bring to attention. And again, this is just off of the cusp. Again, I didn't want to talk too much into it unless it's like a historical fact or something, because I don't know the experience that anybody else lives when it comes to race other than the experience I live because of the race that I am. So I never want to butt my mouth or anything into a conversation with another group of people when I have absolutely no idea how it moves and how it operates. Now, we can talk about what the history has written, if that's even true, because we know sometimes history has been twisted up and shifted up, right? So we don't get the type of truth out of it. But I can give a few little pointers just on that cusp alone, not from any type of personal experience that I may have. And I wish other people would do that as well, when they don't try to come and school people, that are Black on what Black history is during Black History Month, but they're not Black. That's a problem to me. Those type of things really bother me, but that's neither here nor there. So let's talk about racial baggage of colonization. So anti-Blackness didn't start in the United States. It was imported. Many Latin American countries have a history rooted in the caste system, Spanish colonial caste system. Now, the hierarchy of all that. For hundreds of years, Spanish and Portuguese colonizers placed white Europeans at the top. Indigenous people fall somewhere in the middle, and enslaved Africans or Black people are at the very bottom. Now we see that can lead to colorism. This created a culture of colorism where lighter skin is associated with wealth, education, and beauty, while darker skin is associated with poverty and manual labor. What was the result of all of this? While some Hispanic people immigrants to the United States, they bring that same internal bias with them. So meaning that mentality. They may distance themselves from Blackness because in their home countries, whitening the family line was seen as a way to move up in the world and on the totem pole. Then we have to talk about the buffer strategy, the survival in America. When new groups arrived in the United States, they often realized that the country is historically divided into Black or white binary. So seeking safety. Historically, some immigrant groups have tried to align themselves with whiteness as a protective shield. They believe that if they can prove they aren't like those people, referring to Black Americans, they will be treated better, get better jobs, and be more likely accepted. So the model minority myth is that there is pressure to be the good minority. This often leads to adopting the same racist stereotypes about Black people that white supremacy promotes as a way to say, look, we are the hardworking ones. We are not the problem. Then we have to understand that there's always going to be competition for resources in many cities, such as the one I live in right now, Fayetteville, or in places like Los Angeles or Chicago. Black and Hispanic communities often live in the same neighborhoods, but there is scarcity. When there are limited jobs, underfunded schools, and poor housing, groups are often pitted against each other to fight for the crumbs. That brings tension. This creates an environment where people see each other as rivals rather than allies. Instead of looking up at the system that is causing this sad poverty, they look sideways at the neighbors that's living next to them that they see as competition. Why don't we see that white supremacists don't like certain other groups or races of people either? This is the most tragic part of the disconnect. And we have to talk about the legal versus the social whiteness. Historically, some Hispanic groups like Mexican Americans, after the Treaty of the Guadalupe Hidalgo, were legally classified as white. This was legal, it was okay. Maybe that explains why I seen some of those things being circled on those job applications. Anyway, this created a false sense of security. Now, the one of the good ones trap. Some individuals believe that if they speak perfect English, have a high-paying job, or support certain political movements, they will be exempt from racism. The rude awakening, though, they often don't realize that to a white supremacist, a white passing Latino is still non-white or other. The white supremacist ideology doesn't see the nuance of their culture. It only sees a threat to a white nation. Now, the heart of the issue is incredibly sad because Black and Hispanic communities have so much in common. Shared struggles with over-policing, labor exploitation, and systemic poverty. When we fight each other, the people at the very top of the system win because we're too distracted to unite. This is what I just said earlier, y'all. But here is the good news, because there's always a silver lining. Right now, younger generations are changing this. We see that there are more Afro-Latinas standing up and saying, I am both. And we see more brown and Black alliances forming in local politics and social movements. So with all of this being said, that's a little bit of a brief breakdown. But again, I can't speak on an experience that I don't live. But the overall mindset and concept really makes perfect sense. And it's not just Latinos and Latinas that have that mindset. There is all of us almost that have that mindset that come from different races and backgrounds, especially when they come here to this country. But it also affects their lives in their countries as well. We just don't always know about it. And so a lot of times when they get here, they already come with a mindset and a thought of how they're going to move and interact and be amongst the United States citizens, whether they're Black, Spanish, whatever. If they're already here in this country and these people may be coming from a different country, they may see it a little bit differently because of what they're already groomed and prepared to see based off of how things move and operate in their country, but also what they've been told and how they see things move and operate in this country. And that is what's keeping a lot of us, I believe, separated and apart. Imani says, that comment was better than Ye saying slavery was a choice. And Harriet Tubman was freeing people. She was running an employment agency. My God. We got works to do. We sure do got work to do, Imani. That's the thing. We got a lot of work to do. And we got a lot of powers and forces that see that we're trying to do this at work, and they try to silence us and they try to deter us from doing it. But we're going to continue to have these conversations and get to the bottom of this mess, because the only way you can deal with a garden that is basically going sour over and over and over again is most likely because that garden contains weeds. And the only way you get rid of a weed is to pull it up by the root. And so I feel as though we've got to get to that point where we start pulling up these weeds by the roots. And these weeds can be our mindsets. These weeds can be these false histories and education lessons that they taught us in schools that were all corrupt, misunderstood, and all backwards and upside down. These weeds are these shucking and jivers, okay, that's out here doing, the tap dancing. And we know what we call them, but I won't say it. Those are the weeds. And we gotta rip those weeds up and get rid of them, okay? Can you treat a weed? I ain't really, got no green thumb, so I can't be sure. But what my grandma always told me when it comes to weeds is you got to rip them up and throw them out. Now, y'all take that how you will. But I do know work needs to be done for sure. And so, we're going to go ahead and just play a final song here. I'm going to give y'all my final thoughts and summary on all of the topics we talked about, and I'm gonna let y'all go. But thank you so much for this long. I really, really appreciate it. So let's go ahead now and get into this song, and then we will be right back. Let me see. Ay. These things, y'all can still hear me. Hold on, because my page just went blank. Let me see if I can refresh. Give me just a sec. Yep. Refresh. And this stuff. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me now? So yeah, the StreamYard kicked me out and then I had to come back in. I don't know if y'all heard me the whole time or if I was going in and out. If I was, I'm sorry. StreamYard kicked me out, but I'm back inside now. So basically what I was just saying is we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live. I'm going to go ahead and play a final song for us to listen to and then give a quick summary on, basically a little bit of everything we discussed today and just, let y'all go. But I thank y'all so much for rocking with me the entire time for the live. I really appreciate it. I hope some of these topics and whatnot were, informative, maybe even entertaining for some of them. More so informative than entertaining. We'll be doing more entertaining lives soon. I like to make sure we stay informed because there's a lot of serious stuff going on, y'all. But let's go ahead and get into this song, and then we'll give our final thoughts at the end, okay? But we do understand, right, that what a lot of this comes down and boils down to, there's some deep-rooted things when it comes to racism. We know that needs to be cleaned up and dealt with. We also know that a lot of people's agendas for moving and operating it the way they do is not just for status, but a lot of times it's for money. And what do we know about money? The love of money is the root of all evil. So, I just see this happening time in and time out, that a lot of things could be avoided if people just wasn't so greedy for that. Clean. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and play this song, and I'll be right back to close out the live.
chasing the check, but the weight of the world is the chain on my neck. Look, check the clock, check the pace, check the greed. Everybody sprinting just to get what they need. They don't care about the person, they don't care about the heart. Just a number on a ledger trying to tear the soul apart. Getting paid by the hour, yeah, they stacking up the stress. Why the people at the bottom try to clean up the mess? It's a cycle, it's a system, it's a cold-blooded race. They look you in the eye while they try to take your space. For the love of the money, we're working through the dead of night. For the love of money, trading our time for a flicker of light. For the love of money, they'll sell the truth just to get the pay. Doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna look the other way. For that lean green, mean green, the hustle's got us on our knees. I need the racks, but not like that. I need to win, but keep the facts. Everybody's acting for the digital stage, selling out their spirit for a click on a page. Clickbait the drama, honestly the fake. How much of your integrity are you willing to stake? They're getting paid to hollow out everything we seek. The bank account is heavy, but the character is weak. Check the status symbol, check the bottom line. The pressure of the climb's gonna drive us out our mind. Chasing down the bonus isn't worth the cost of time. Got to have it, I'd rather have the truth. Stop trading all our wisdom and the fire of our youth. Don't let the bottom line change you. Don't be a ghost for a paycheck. Stay real for the people. For the love of money.
You know, you missed that like your wife missed the spirit of Valentine's Day. Like you just, it's sad. It really is sad. Not nearly as sad as spending my Friday and Saturday nights on that group chat, or in the case of William, like drafting messages for the group. Not nearly that sad, but sad nonetheless.
Sad, isn't it?
Congratulations to the Miami-Dade County Republican Party. You are our racist of the week. And let's also keep this in mind. Not only have we not seen the reaction to this that we've previously seen, it's almost like it's become normalized, but we have to also keep in mind we're only discussing this because it was leaked. And one of the other things I always say is nobody ever gets caught their first time. So as much as we've been here before, what percentage of this is it of what's actually out there? You know, what they tell us doesn't exist. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Y'all hear that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
It's the unraveling of the MAGA coalition. And this month, we letting them fight. So look out for all of that merch hitting thepeoplesgetup.com. Now, this time around, I come to you in the spirit of Unsung. Y'all remember that show on TV One about all the groups that didn't get their just desserts? They were really scraping the barrel by the end of that show. I think they made one on me. My work in the shower. I'll be singing in the shower. I go by Rishis Watterson. And I got Rishis Watterson. Look out for Rishis Watterson. I think it's season 24. I'm on there. Now, last time I sat here, I gave a shout out to all the people whose hard work makes this channel go. But I also want to give a shout out to the research squad. Did you know we have a research squad? Shout out to all of you guys. And if you would like to be a part of it, hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com. But I also want to shout out you, all the people whose actions help propel this channel onto the screens and into the laps of so many people all across America. The people that watch the video all the way to the end, the people that hit the like button, the ones that hit the side of the screen during the premiere, the people that share the videos, all the subscribers, all the members, the people who write comments, and the people that engage with other people in the comment section, as well as the people that follow me on all of my other socials. I'm at Reese Waters on just about everything. There are so many people whose efforts I appreciate that I may not have an opportunity to thank. And just because I haven't already doesn't mean I won't. That goes for you too, Hanukkah Claus. I remember. Greetings to Reese Waters and the Mod Squad and Collected fam. It's me, Top Cop, aka Hanukkah Claus, the chubby elf of Hanukkah with his reindeer Nala. She's of the culture, sending out holiday greetings and drinking from the glory of my FAFO mug and adorned in my Who Raised Y'all festive tea. It's an honor to tell all who ask regarding these gifts about the good works this channel does, and I know will continue to do. Love to all of you. And right back at you. I want you guys to know how much I appreciate the support, love, and just the time that you guys shower onto this particular channel. And I chose Unsung because coming out of the White House Black History Month with the State of the Union immediately afterwards with no acknowledgement whatsoever, the treatment of Jesse Jackson, and the most notable thing coming from this administration during Black History Month being the Obama memes. I think a lot of us know what it feels like to be unsung. And for us, you got to ask how many years we're going to move this country and remain a ghost. It's like a special kind of magic trick that we do to be the most visible people in the room, the ones that get watched in the corner store, the ones they lock their car doors for, and yet be completely unseen. We're the architects of the culture the world breathes like oxygen, but nobody ever asks who built the house. We're the rhythm in the song everybody's humming, the slang on the tongue of a girl across the ocean who's never met a soul from my neighborhood. Actually, you know what? My neighborhood was pretty milquetoast. I'll be honest. My neighborhood was unseasoned. I'll be honest. Let's go with y'all neighborhood. A woman across the ocean who's never met a soul from your neighborhood. We are the trend, the aesthetic, the vibe. But when the credits roll, our names are written in water. It's like being a foundation. You're under the floorboards, holding up the whole structure, but people walk all over you, dance on you. They feel safe because of you, but they never look down to say thank you. They just admire the view from the window that we helped frame. We've sat in boardrooms where our idea was a suggestion until a man with a different tan said it louder, and then suddenly it was innovation. In fact, I think this administration has been built on dismantling everything Obama did and then putting together something similar, but way worse. I've seen our history tucked into the back of the book, a footnote in a chapter written by someone who wasn't even there. It's exhausting being a masterpiece that everyone wants to own, but nobody wants to credit. But here's the thing about being unrecognized. Just because you don't see the wind doesn't mean it isn't moving the trees. We've been the pulse of this world since the first heartbeat. You can look away. You can keep your eyes fixed on the ceiling. You can pretend the light just happened to turn on by itself. But we all know who flipped the switch. We've always known. We see you.
All right, y'all. So I wanted to play that to the end because I thought that was a very, very beautiful monologue. Like, he said it better than anybody could ever say it as far as when it comes to that situation with this racism. Lord knows we're tired of it, but we did cover a lot of ground today, okay? Some of it was heavy, some of it was heartbreaking, and some of it is really honestly just plain frustrating. We got the cold yellow here at one of the local high schools in my neighborhood, right in our backyard. We got the smoke that's rising over a synagogue in Michigan. We got the receipts, Monique was talking about with Whoopi Goldberg, to the tragic, unnecessary loss of sweet Ava Little. It would be easy to look at all of this and just feel defeated. It would be easy to say the world is just too far gone. And sometimes I feel that way, but I pull myself back to center, because I'm not here to leave people in despair. I'm here because I believe in the power of us, unity, talking together, learning together, and moving forward together in all of these hard times. We see these wars over oil and minerals in Iran. We see the limitations of the weapons and the hardware. It teaches us, honestly, that the true power doesn't come from a missile or a weapon. It comes from the heart. We see the division between our communities, the tension between Black and brown, African American, Hispanics, and the hate within our own circles. But that just tells me that, yeah, we got a little bit more work to do, or maybe a lot of bit more work to do. And we're going to do it because we understand that the activism starts at home. It starts when we decide that a child being bullied is our child. It starts when we stand up for a neighborhood's right to pray in peace, whether they're in a church, a mosque, or a synagogue. Hope isn't just a feeling. Hope is a muscle. We build it every time we choose kindness over a keyboard comment. We build it every time we demand better from our schools and our leaders. So this is going out to not just the people here in my local hometown of Fayetteville. We all are resilient people. This is to the family of Ava and the heroes in Michigan. You're not alone. And to my audience, don't let the headlines dim your light. Let's be the generation that stops the cycle of hate. Let's be the ones who prioritize people over profits. We have the voice, we have the platforms, and we have the heart. So let's go out into this world and be the peace that we're looking for. This is Golden and Mama Warrior, and that's all we got for this live today, y'all. Thanks for rocking with us to the end. We'll end it with a bop per usual, and we will talk to you on the next one. All right. Love you all. We out. Bye.
The air is thick with whispers, digital ghosts in the machine. They feed us fiction till our vision's blurred, you know the scene. Static on the screen, a 24-hour scream, selling us a fractured dream, tearing at the seams. They got us locked in little boxes, picking sides, while the real tide rises and nobody hides. Yo, podiums are burning, bridges turn to ash and dust. They trading rhetoric like bullets, banking on our lack of trust. Got us debating pronouns while the planet starts to rust. Got us obsessed with power, drowning in our own disgust. Politicians playing chess with pawns that look like you and me, selling off the future for a bump in their damn GDP. And what we talking about, the foolishness, the vanity, fighting over AI songs, the height of our insanity. A fake voice on a fake beat gets more rage and more ink than a real bomb dropping on a city while we blink. They engineered the outrage, designed it to divide, so we never look up from our phones to see the coming tide. Oh, can you hear the war drums pounding out a rhythm low? They're marching us to battle for a God we do not know. They want us choosing colors, but our blood all runs the same. to this atmospheric hate. Taught to fear they neighbor before they learn to conjugate. Lines drawn in the sand by hands that never touch the soil, while the working class backbone is bent in endless toil. From Ferguson to Palestine, from Kiev to the Sudan. Listen, it's the same damn story, part of the same damn plan. Keep the people fighting over scraps upon the floor, so they never band together and demand a slice of more. They call it patriotism, tradition, call it pride. I call it ancient venom with a modern place to hide. Skin tone is the uniform they gave us for they wore, but the soul inside the flesh is what we should be fighting for. And I'm tired, so tired of singing this eulogy. Oh, can you hear the war drums pounding out a rhythm low? They're marching us to battle for a God we do not know. They want us choosing colors, but our blood all runs the same. Just strangers in a mirror whispering a different name. I'm praying for the day the sun won't care what shade we are. That we can see the human heart behind the battle scar. Tear down the flags and see the faces before we run out of safe places. What if we looked each other in the eye, past the melanin, past the zip codes and the bank accounts they fence us in? What if our only currency was empathy and grace? What if we found our real reflection in a stranger's face? This ain't a lyric, it's a lifeline that I'm throwing out. This ain't a song, it's the beginning of a different route. I'm a daughter of the struggle, a mother of a dream, to wash away the blood and poison from this bitter stream. So turn the volume down on all the noise they try to sell, and listen to that quiet voice inside you know so well. World War III is knocking, they're at the door, but it's not nation against nation anymore. It's ignorance against wisdom, it's love against the fear. The real war is right here.